Hey everybody, and welcome to the stream. Okay, so we decided to do something a little bit different today, and what that different thing was to do a big live stream showing off a couple of the original worst ever episodes that I did a long time ago, before I ever thought this was going to be a series. And then we also have some like hidden stuff that we never showed off before as well. So to be doing that. I cannot believe there's like 700 people watching right now. That's insane. I didn't think that many people would show up to just like a little fun stream. But how's everybody doing? Everybody having a good time? Gonna shout out some people on the chat. It is going by super fast. It is really hard to see everybody. Hey Replay Gaming. Hey Blue Toad. Ryan. Coco. That's going by too quick. Probably should try and slow it down, but I can't right now. Yeah, so basically, every time I've made an episode for the Worst Ever series, I've like, I didn't really think it was going to be something that we would make more of. I did the first episode a long time ago, and we're going to watch that one today. And honestly, I didn't think much about it. When I made it, I was so stressed out and so upset. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you the things that happen in the background as we're watching the video, things you may have never seen before watching the episode. So hopefully that stuff will kind of like stick out. One of the reasons we're doing this stream today too is to announce that we are going to be streaming on Twitch now, like about 2 or 3 times a week. And Adam's going to be joining in, and we're going to be doing like a hot take episode once a week there, talking about all the video game news that's going on. And I'm going to be playing maybe some bad games, probably some good ones too. I think this Monday we're going to be playing a game first before it goes live, and we're going to be getting like exclusive access to it and stuff. So that's going to be pretty cool. Oh, wow, there are just so many people watching. Folks, thank you so much for showing up. I was not expecting this. Honestly, was expecting like 50. That was about it, like 50 people, and that's all. This is crazy. Okay, so first episode we're going to watch is the classic Wireless 60, the worst ever, the very first one before I ever thought there was going to be another worst ever. So how this worked, which I've never talked about on the show before, but basically, my friend and I went to a discount store where they sell like just bad stuff that nobody ever wants. We're talking like shoes that fell off the back of a truck. And when I mean fell off the back of a truck, I don't mean stolen. I mean literally they fell off the back of a truck, so they're damaged, so they can't sell it in the normal store. So what they do is they sell it at this store, and there was like about 3 or 4 Wireless 60s there. My friend was like, dude, don't buy this. No one's going to want this. No one's going to want to see you make a video on this. I bring that up with him every time we talk, when we talk about this series, because he was so certain no one was going to care about this, and it ended up being probably, I guess, the biggest episode we've ever done on the channel. Soulja Boy is just kind of like really coming up on that one. Anyway, folks, let's sit there and watch, and I'll pause it every so often and tell you some funny things you may not have seen before or may not know about the series, and I'll keep my eye out on the chat if there's any cool comments or things you guys want me to talk about as well. All right, here we go. I think this button here does it. Ah, there.
Now I'm going to assume a lot of you have heard of knockoff consoles before.
Okay. Right there. Do you see this? That's a power cord that I'm using to light my like back of my head or something. This power cord is for some reason just in the scene the entire time. I don't know why I missed that. If you look right behind me, there's actually like a popcorn machine and stuff. These are things I probably should have fixed, but by the time you're seeing this recording, I had already recorded the video a full 3 times because the Wireless 60 just kept crashing throughout the entire episode. So that was kind of annoying, but yeah.
Because they're kind of a common thing that you see in malls and, well, flea markets and places like that. More often than not, they're a controller, just standalone. And the controller plugs up straight to your TV and claims to have hundreds and hundreds of games. And a lot of them exist that kind of look like old Nintendo graphics, just worse. And in some cases, the 100 games that they're including aren't actually games from the Nintendo or Sega Master System, but they're actually games that are just made up and bad, without any real concept of design or really anything that would make a game worthwhile. These products are designed to be sold in places really quick and for really cheap. Ladies and gentlemen, today you're going to be seeing the worst video game console I own, the Wireless 60.
Okay. Shot in a vacant lot in Cambridge, Ontario, this street no longer exists. This entire area has been turned into a factory. I think they were trying to build something there originally, and it needed to be very far away from people while filming this. So this is actually in Cambridge, Ontario, by the 401. I think behind where this is being shot, there was like a standalone store where they sell cowboy boots, and they were like, I think, looking for me at a distance. It was really weird, but yeah, really strange time to be shooting all this stuff. But I needed to shoot something that wasn't in a basement because I hated seeing consoles always shown off in a basement. So I did that. The Wireless 60 here is the black model. There is a white one, but I never actually got to show that one off. But we did pick one up recently, so that might be a hint for something in the future.
Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what the hell's a Wireless 60? And that's a very good question. A Wireless 60 is pretty much a SNES on a chip. Now, what that means is it actually has graphics that are comparable to the Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and it has it on a single chip. Where the Super Nintendo was a masterfully designed console that took years to develop, the Wireless 60 wasn't. It most likely was made in somebody's garage. Or at least it feels that way. There isn't much info out there on this system, and from what I can tell, it was built in a factory. I know that there are variations of the system that exist that use the same games I'm about to review, but it would be almost impossible to know the exact number of how many are out there. Right off the bat, you know the Wireless 60 isn't going to be that great. In fact, I'm pretty sure all of you are thinking, boy, these games have to suck more than anything in the world.
And they do.
You'd be right. The games were designed very quickly, and without very much effort put in.
Okay. So, here's something I completely messed up. There is a sequence I shot with this video. If you look at this box, what do you notice? Do you see those little plastic things? It's like a baseball bat, a golf club, tennis racket, and all that. That's all plastic pieces that attached onto the controller. I never shot that thing. Like, I shot it, but I didn't put it into the final version of the video. I tried to find it for today, but I couldn't. But I do have another one of these systems that I found recently, so maybe we might go back and look at the system again, and I can finally show off what those stupid things are. But, yeah, that's something that happened while shooting.
Into them. So all 60 games that are included in the console are pretty much shit. I mean, you really would hope for something very unique and interesting to come out of this, but every game that they try and copy and emulate is just poorly done. Now, while all the games in the console, to my knowledge, are original games, the actual fundamental design of them are copied from games like Tetris and Bomberman, and even Pac-Man. But none of these games are good, not even a bit. They're nowhere near as comparable to the original games that they're based off of. So if you really want to try these games out, at your own risk. But to save you from that, what I'm going to do is play all 60 and review all 60 of them. Dear God, why?
Okay, so this is real. Every time we look at a worst ever system, I always play every single game on the system that I can. Usually, this is the problem with this system. This system broke on me twice. And then by the third time, I actually got to record everything properly. So for some stupid reason, the Wireless 60 has an electrical signal, like a fault, that will send an electric shock right through the wire that are the composite video cable that will short your video capture device. So while I was recording this twice, it actually broke my recording 2 times and fragged all the recording. So what you're seeing of this system being played was played completely in full 3 times in total. This part here is inspired by Clockwork Orange, which is why there's orange in the scene. And I actually did like a little recomposition with a MIDI program and stuff, but I don't even know where that audio is. But anyway, here it is. Have fun.
The Wireless 60 claims to have 2 wireless controllers in the box, and it does, but they're nothing like the controllers you're used to with other consoles that are wireless. See, the Wii, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, they use technologies like Bluetooth, which are great.
The Xbox 360 and Wii and PS3 were new at the time. This is an old video.
Because they're accurate and they're fast. But the Wireless 60 uses infrared technology on the sides of the controller, and on the top, and on the back. That infrared technology is very similar to, well, remote controls for your TV. While it does work, it's hardly accurate, and more often than not, you're going to be missing connections. And whenever you need to do something in a game, and the game doesn't accurately respond to you at the same time you put in the command, that can lead to frustrating games, like this one.
Baseball, the first of 12 sports titles, which, by the way, are the only 12 games to use motion sensing technology built into the controller. While I say
my favorite part of this is the waggling controller here, because this is a motion controller, right? It's just, it's the dumbest animation you could have possibly used.
Motion sensing, it's really nothing but shaking the controller and having it register as a button being pressed. None of these games actually sense the motion of your hand like the Nintendo Wii or PlayStation Move controllers. No, what it's doing here is giving you an on-screen prompt to shake your controller when it's appropriate. A big problem with the 12 sports games is that, well, they all want you to move the controller. So you better hope you're not moving the controller out of the sight of the IR sensor on the console, because if you do, it doesn't know if you're pushing any buttons or moving the damn thing.
Oh yeah, I love the way I said IR. I slurred for some reason. I don't know why. Now, interesting part. With this console, there actually is a baseball adapter, like I showed you on the box. So that baseball adapter goes on the top of the controller. Now, the problem is that the IR sensor is hidden underneath that little baseball bat. So if you actually hold the controller outwards like that, it will not register a signal. This was all shot, but it just kind of got lost in time. Stupid mistake, but yeah, eventually I will show that stuff off again in the future. But just know that when you go to play this with the actual equipment it comes with, it actually doesn't work that well.
But I digress. Back to baseball. The game is plain, very few options, and doesn't serve up any real interesting variations on the game. Imagine a baseball game that can only interact with you by mindlessly swinging the controller. That's exactly what this is. The bar to the right shows you how much power you have, and when you land on one of the 3 colors, it will give you a stronger throw or allow you to hit with the baseball bat. The damn bar is used in almost all of the sports games, but changes the meaning of the colors from game to game. Green might be good to hit the ball, but red might be better to pitch. It's just stupid and it sucks. Basketball, the same idea, power bar to the right. But the sound effects are so horrible that it sounds like a small nuclear explosion every time you score. Once you figure out how to score, you basically can never lose.
Okay, so someone's mentioning in the chat that I sound different back then than I do now. This is an older episode. It was shot a while ago. But I didn't know how to talk on camera yet. So there's certain things I'll say that don't really line up with how I would say it normally. At the time, I was trying to do like a broadcast announcer voice. It doesn't work, but I was trying to do that. So a lot of the stuff I say in this episode, also the recording of me on camera and the actual voiceover should sound identical, because all I did, most people think I wrote a script for this. I didn't write a script. What I would do is I would take the camera after I was done filming myself, put it in front of myself playing the game, or rewatching footage of me playing the game, and I would just speak directly into the camera microphone without like any script at all. So everything you're seeing in this video is completely ad-lib, like off the top of my head. So there will be mistakes in the stuff I did. We don't do that anymore because that's a dumb way to do videos, but at the time, I couldn't write very well, so it just made a lot more sense.
Not even a fraction of what the Wii Sports variation is like. Clunky, slow, and completely inaccurate. The game is also home to some of the most uninterested voice actors ever. Bowling! Just like boxing, not even close to what Wii Sports offers. Oh, and hello again, Power Bar. I see you're here to haunt me once more. While the Wii Remote can sense when you're shifting the controller slightly to give you a little bit of a spin on your bowling ball, the Wireless 60 has no way to do that, so it's crap. Fishing! Haha! No. Darts. Hard to lose this one. They built in some kind of timer that automatically shifts your crosshair after a couple of minutes into some random direction. Completely pointless, because you can just slide it back into place effortlessly. Tennis. Once again, nothing like Wii Sports. There is no way for the console to know the power of a hit. The controller is just not that sophisticated. In fact, the only way they could make this worse is by, I don't know, cloning the game to pad out the number of total sports games they've built into the console, but they wouldn't have done, ping pong?
Okay. Ender, the space pirate, just said every Wireless 60 is personalized. Ender, you probably think you're making a joke, but I actually think you're right. Every system is so poorly manufactured that there's some issue with it. Here's something you never found out in the real episode. When I got this console, it legitimately didn't work. Let's throw to the webcam here. This is going to take a little bit to explain. When I got the console, brought it home, opened up the box, none of the controllers worked. I couldn't figure out why. So I just assumed, oh, they were selling a broken console at this place, and I'm just never going to be able to make a video on it. Here's what happened. I recorded all this, but I just didn't put it into the final video because this video was already over 20 minutes, and I didn't think it needed to be longer. So when you opened up the controller ports, you could put, or the battery slot in the back of the controller, you could put 2 AA batteries in, right? That's normal. Here's the problem, though. When you did that with this system, the controllers did not turn on. That's when I discovered that the actual like battery compartment was broken, but not broken by me or anyone at the store that sold to me. I mean, they were legitimately broken from manufacturing. So what I had to do was I took tin foil and I relined up the battery compartments to make a connection with the actual like PCB inside the controller so it actually turn on. Completely didn't show that in the video because I thought it would be really boring. But when you got the Wireless 60, and one of the reasons why very few people did Wireless 60 videos before I did was because if they got the system, it would not work. True story, not in the final version. Probably should have shown that off. I apologize. But again, let's get back to the video.
It's the same f***ing game, but they put a table in front of you. Oh, for f***'s sakes. Golf. Isometric perspective golf. Not even in my nightmares would I willingly play this game again. Pool. Fantastabad. That's a new word I just made up to describe this game. It just doesn't work at all. It's nearly impossible to aim. The pool table in Duke Nukem 3D is 1,000 times better, and that damn thing wasn't even the focus of that level. Dancing. F*** off. SeaWorld.
Okay. Can I explain why I did that? So I was so scared about being on camera that I didn't want to film myself dancing. So I was like, and then I just did that. That's exactly why I did that, because I didn't want to film myself dancing. I completely forgot about that. I don't know where I got the name Fantastabad from. That's a weird one. You think that would be something that a lot of people would have said before me, but I guess I used it first. Fantastabad.
Yup, that's a sports game apparently. Chucking food at wildlife in the water. Our friend the Power Bar makes a return again, just f with me once more. I can't even understand why they thought this was a sport. I mean, God, who's keeping the score? The magic green octopus who randomly shows up for no reason?
Now, a funny little thing that I actually noticed was on the back of the box. It's got to be one of the greatest warnings ever for buying a system. It says it right on the back, right here. Dear valued customer, please note, if you're looking to purchase or own an Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Wii, or equivalent, this product does not compare or compete with these technologies. Wireless 60 is a family entertainment console great for ages 5 and up. Well, at least they're honest about it.
But honesty isn't going to save them from having to put me through playing these next 48 games. First up is Auto X.
Okay, so, when I was looking at the back of the box, I actually discovered something a little bit more sinister about the system. So, the Wireless 60 was originally sold to a company called Sears. You may know what Sears is. And they, I guess, bought a whole lot of them to sell when they couldn't get Wiis. So I assume what happened was when the Wii became really successful, they started selling these things as fast as they could at like stores that couldn't get the Wii. Sears, though, was a big company. So for them to be selling this, it's pretty wild. Also, this kid here looks like Scott Pilgrim from behind.
A racing game where you race on the world's longest and narrowest beach while a pirate ship sails around you. You can't tell in the video, but due to the design of the game, you don't actually have to turn on corners of the track. Nope, it sort of just does it for you, as if the game isn't aware that the track had turns at all. All you really do here is just avoid obstacles. Very, very boring. Deep Storm, a Space Harrier-like game. It has you firing at oncoming enemies, but unlike Space Harrier, your bullets are the size of tiny little peas, and coupled with horrible hit detection, this...
Okay, so look at this game a bit closer. No matter where you are, your character always shoots in the center. You're just trying to avoid shots, and it's... this game just bugged me. What you don't know is that almost, I think, every game on this at the time, I would try and beat it. Which you can't. These games usually can't be beaten, or they get so far that they actually crash. It's a stupid thing for me to do, but I played this for way too long. Also, I'm pretty sure that's a hammer and sickle on its forehead for some reason. I don't know why.
Game is a struggle to play. Okay, and for this next one, let's play the music for this game first. Okay, what game do you think that is?
Balloon Fight. Is it Balloon Fight? I think it's Balloon Fight.
You're correct.
Yay!
But in the Wireless 60 world, you're wrong.
Oh.
Dream Bubble.
Okay, so that's my friend Leo. Leo has a show called Laser Frog. He's also available on Twitch. You guys should subscribe to him if you can. Laser Frog, I told him about this video when I was making it because we had joined Retroware TV together, so we started talking a lot, and I wanted somebody else's voice to be on this episode so it just wasn't me the entire time. The best part about this is Leo eventually gets a job at Kotaku, and he starts working at Kotaku a little bit after this. I always found it funny that there's like some prestige to this episode because people from Kotaku that worked there actually had worked on this video at one point. Pretty neat, huh? Most people don't know that.
Using the music from Balloon Fight, the sounds of Bust-A-Move, and ripping off the entire game design of Tetris, this is hands down the worst implementation of Tetris ever made. Why, you might ask? Well, the controls are terrible. You will find yourself in situations where you could have easily cleared a row in regular Tetris, but due to the controls' poor response on this console, you will lose. Firefighter. It's like Breakout. In fact, it is Breakout, but with a firefighter bouncing on a trampoline. The concept isn't bad, but its execution is just wrong. It's hard to control, and it gets super repetitive after a while. Hero Legend. Look everyone, it's Link from The Legend of Zelda in a Snow Brothers ripoff. Terrible controls, terrible hit detection, and it gets super boring after the second stage. Jewel Fever 2. That's right kids, you don't get Jewel Fever 1 in this collection, they jump straight to the sequel. And what is it like? Sorta Bust-A-Move-ish with a pirate that looks like he might be Mario with an eye patch on.
I love this shot. You know it's Mario with an eye patch, but why did they design that? That is a weird looking character. And I think it's the other eye is hollow or something. This is just really creepy. I love that these knockoff systems will always find a way to take a character you know and a character you love and turn them into this. It's weird, it's bizarre, and it's really hard to look at, honestly. Ugh.
Yup. Mr. Onion. One of the few games with a title screen. Apparently in this game, Pac-Man with a comb-over has to save a cross-dressing Kirby from the clutches of snails and evil eggs. While the game is one of the more playable from the set, it quickly becomes unfair with enemies that respawn seconds after you take them out. The Lost World. It's Frogger. Really, it is. Miniaturized Bill Reiser from Contra runs up the stage avoiding obstacles while he reaches everyone's favorite Frogger stage. This game is easily the most repetitive of the lot. You have to complete each level 5 times before advancing to the next stage. Nothing changes each time you complete a level either. It just makes you do it again and again until you have every character in each gate.
To be fair, that's exactly how you play Frogger. Just at the time, I was so sick of seeing like knockoff clones of games I already knew. But yeah, it's like that's a bad criticism. This is the fun thing about watching this. There's so many mistakes and errors in how I did this video back then, but you know, you live with it.
Boring. Totally jet. Hey, remember when we were talking about Auto X earlier on? Yeah, this is the same game with worse controls and different textures. Brilliant.
Yes, the music, someone just mentioned it. The music, this is Powerhouse. This is a song that Raymond Scott created. By the way, for those of you that don't know Raymond Scott's music plays a lot in Warner Brothers cartoons. But what's really smart, or what's really cool about Raymond Scott is he's kind of like one of the first synthesizer musicians ever. And he was doing music way back in the 40s and 50s that sounded electronic and stuff. Really, really cool musician. I really liked Warner Brothers cartoons. That's why I was using that kind of music, because I thought it was really fun at the time. But yeah.
Pop Ball. Hey, look everyone, it's Ness from Earthbound. Wow, I guess I need to apologize to Nintendo. They didn't forget about you at all. They just licensed you off to be in some terrible game where you pop balls.
Now, this joke no longer makes sense. At the time, Nintendo was avoiding ever talking about Earthbound, ever. So they wouldn't talk about Earthbound in any degree. They would never mention that it existed. Just a little while after I made this video, they eventually released Earthbound on the Wii U. Does everybody remember the Wii U?
And that's it, folks. You just pop balls. All day long. Go-Kart. A poor man's RC
No, that's
Pro-Am.
not Sans.
3 tracks, but terrible controls, and no other racers. super boring. SODOKU. You know, that number puzzle game everyone liked?
This is me actually trying to play Sudoku.
With a bad interface. Lightning Plan. Ah, Lightning Plan. This title gave me hope, because for a few brief minutes, this felt like a decent shoot-'em-up. But once you get to the desert area, the flaws of overly armored enemies become too much to bear. It takes way too long to shoot down some of these larger enemies, and they don't really serve any good attacks. It just has no flow, no feel of consistency. Plus, I'm pretty certain that this is just a ripoff of a game that already exists and has probably done it better. So, there. Find pairs. Like the title says, you find pairs of things. It's like that matchup card game from Super Mario Bros. 3, only never-ending and with colors and shapes that don't really stand out in any interesting way. Rapid Stream. I'll let the footage speak for itself. Finger dancing.
I was so upset when I played that game. Every time I tried to play it, I'd always die right at the beginning. So I was like, all right, whatever. I can't get through this. Done. Put it up there. I see a couple people asking what Re-Res came from, where the name came from. So for those of you that don't know, Re-Res is a name that my friends and I used to use a lot when we would die in an online game and we'd wait to get respawned. We'd call it waiting to Re-Res. The reason we did that was because we watched a movie called Tron, which not many other people did. So Tron has this thing where a character dies, they get de-resed. So instead of de-resed, we called it re-res. But it was, and that's how it worked. I think in the novelization of the Tron movie that came out before Tron, they actually do call it re-resing. So it's not like something we coined or whatever. But that's what it came from. That's the name of it. It's just that. It's basically respawning in a video game. That's all it is. I think originally, for those of you that don't know, Re-Res was supposed to be a television pilot, and a friend and I actually created a pilot that had actors in it and stuff like that, and I wrote for people because I didn't want to be on camera, like, at all. And one of the tricks to that series was that we had to come up with a really good name, and unfortunately, we couldn't find one for a while. We actually called it Game Diversion and stuff like that, but it just didn't work out. So I was just thinking of words I would use while playing games online. So Re-Res is what it became. So that's where it came from.
It's like DDR, but a set of levels where you jump from platform to platform, inputting directions and button presses. It's not really bad. Kind of interesting, actually. In fact, I think this is one of the better games of the... Oh. Joy, it crashed. Next! Slot machines. Take yourself out of the grimy pits of a government-run casino and hop on into a mindlessly boring variation of a slot machine. As a side note, did you know that there's a Back to the Future video slot machine where Christopher Lloyd reprises his role as Doc Brown? Seriously, it's a real thing. I always wanted to play that. I imagine it's way better than this. Also, let's get this next batch out of the way all at once. Texas Hold'em, Blackjack, Video Poker, Caribbean Stud, and Free Craps. They're all casino games, and they're all pretty much done the exact same way.
Casino games
I suppose the best thing you could say about these games is that they're all competent. They work, but their interfaces are messy. Jewel Master 2, or as we in the gaming world would like to call it, columns. It works well, I guess, but as pretty much all the other games I've talked about so far, the controls work against you. Motor Rally 2. Hey, remember that Totally Jet game that was just a clone of Auto X? It's here again. That makes 3 games that play almost exactly the same with variations on textures.
Okay, so I'm pretty certain, I could never actually confirm, but a lot of the different like driving games that exist on the Wireless 60 steal assets from certain games. I couldn't find where all the assets came from. This one, though, I'm pretty sure this is Road Rash on the Sega Genesis. I can't guarantee that, but assets of it really look similar. It was something I didn't want to say in the actual video because I wasn't certain for sure, but it looks a lot like Road Rash if Road Rash sucked badly.
Why did they even bother? Speedrunner. Imagine the worst controls ever in a top-down perspective racer that is similar to Micro Machines. That is exactly what this would be. Also, spoiler, you'll never beat your opponent in this because he's way too fast and drives with absolute perfection every single time. Dragon. It's a platforming game where you sort of jump from one base to another. Your attack doubles as a platform you can jump on briefly before it flies away. Not bad, but plagued by repetition and provides no real challenge.
I love... So if you just listen to what I said, I didn't say bad, I said blad. That is a mixture of lad and bad together to make a brand new word that doesn't exist.
Treasure hunt. Collect treasure. Walk around a stage. Done. Ice climber. Well, this is awkward. It's almost a near-perfect clone of Nintendo's original NES game with the very same title. Only it's way more difficult to play.
Now, the best part about this is that you can see there's a character over there, and that character has a mallet the same way that we saw another game. It was a Snow Brothers ripoff, and Link was in it. Okay, if you were to make an Ice Climber clone, wouldn't you use the Link model because it's closer to Nintendo than whoever this character is? What a stupid thing for them to have done.
And functionally challenged in its design. Jumping to the next platform will make you scream bloody murder every single time. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. Cooking chaos. Look, I don't know, you're a cat-dog combo catching cherries with a cupcake that are being tossed down by two bluebirds in a hammock. I can't even...
Okay, so, I read the comments on videos. I know a lot of people tend to think I don't. I do. I read lots of comments. So what you're seeing here is, afterwards, a bunch of you viewers told me, this is from Snow White. Snow White? Wait, is it Snow White? Cinderella. Sorry, Cinderella. This is from Cinderella. Those are the bluebirds from Cinderella that are like bringing something in a hammock to Cinderella. And that little dog and cat thing, those are actually supposed to be the mice from Cinderella as well. So that's what that is. And unfortunately, I didn't recognize it because they just put different faces over them. From what we're to understand, there's a Disney plug-and-play video game system somewhere, and this game exists in it. They just replaced all the assets so that it kind of looked a little bit different, but it doesn't look different enough if you ask me.
I just don't know. Starry Night. I always thought Flounder from The Little Mermaid deserved his own game, and he got it.
Now, okay, so if you are going to steal something from Disney and change the characters in the game, why then would you keep Flounder here? This makes no sense. Sorry, we're right here, right there. This makes no sense. This is exactly what you do to avoid a copyright claim or a kind of a lawsuit. So this is exactly the model that they should have hid, but they didn't. They could have even changed the color of Flounder, but probably just didn't know what Little Mermaid was at all.
And it's terrible. You only push one button, that's it, and it makes you swim higher. You just avoid objects. For eternity. Forever and ever. Potion Commotion. This is just a seriously bad Breakout clone with a seahorse instead of a ball. Loco Coconuts. Huey, Dewey, and Louie are tigers now, for some reason, and they're playing a game of throw the coconut in a barrel with a kangaroo in a crate that is floating in the air with a balloon. Whatever. It's that basketball game from earlier, but sideways. Surf Adventure. I can't even begin to understand what the point of this game was, but the pirate from Jewel Fever 2 is taller and rides by you every so often. So...
Okay, so, that's just a really skinny Wario. I don't know why I didn't see that before, but totally is a very skinny Wario, right? Right? Yeah.
Oh, that's a thing. Egg Collector. Collect eggs. Do it before they hit the ground. Done. Boring. Find the Way. It's a dog running through a stage with a baby on its back, and if the baby falls off, it grows wings and the dog has to catch it again. Terrible.
Okay. What game is this? What game are they possibly trying to rip off in a very bizarre way? Also, that dog's mouth in the top left does not look good. There's something going on there, like the dog's tongue is melting out of its mouth. But this is just Yoshi's Island, right? Like, that's what this is? I don't know why I didn't see that before, but that's what it is, right?
Terrible game. Go Smile? What? It's like Pac-Man, but you're a centipede or a worm or a snake or something that exists. It's just impossible to play with such unresponsive controls. I I don't understand. Magic Jelly sucks. This game just sucks. I hate it. It's a poor-ass excuse for a game. It takes practically forever to clear the first stage from poor design and functionality, and your character never stops hopping, ever. They just jump off the edge of the map if you don't stop them. F***. Pinball Fish. It's another Breakout clone. Dear God. Bomb Jump. Another Breakout clone. Another one. Again. F***. Zippy Frogger. Nothing to do with Frogger. Amazing. But what kind of game is it? I have no idea. You eat bugs or something. It's terrible. Next. Crazy Addition. Do you even expect me to be able to use my brain at this point after Magic Jelly? Really? No. No. Bad interface. I don't even care. It's a bad game. Next.
Okay, so I hate any of these games that have numbers on them. You don't have an input. Cell phones exist at this point with smartphones existed with touch screens. We would have had ways to play these games anywhere else, but when they're on a system like this, you have to awkwardly go through every individual number in a set, so you have up to 9 or 0, so you have 10 possible inputs. I hate games like this because if you could just play it with a keyboard or a touchscreen, it would be so much easier, but on here, it just takes forever to get through them. Always hated these games.
Defense Mission. It's a game where you attack people on a stage until enemies stop spawning. It's just a waste of time after you kill the first 5 enemies, and it just repeats until you clear the stage for a new one that only slightly looks different. Bomb Hero. It's Bomberman, and they didn't even change the music. In fact, most of the enemies I'm pretty sure are the same. I actually like Bomberman. This is a pretty decent clone, but it never changes. You play the same stage forever.
So I don't know why I didn't mention it, but like, that's Kirby, right? Yeah. Well, I didn't mention that the first time around.
It's just lazy. Ballroom Bonanza. Wonderful. It's one of those popular gem-matching puzzle games that are so unique and have never been done before. God, is that Lucifer, the cat from Cinderella? Why did they... Never mind. Next.
Okay, so again, like we were talking about before with the Disney plug-and-play game system that I don't know where exists, this is it. You can tell. Look, it's a wand. It's like a little pin that looks like a tomato. That's actually a pin cushion to put pins in. That's what that is. And then you've got the glass slipper from Cinderella. So yeah, this is just a Cinderella game. Oh, Daniel just sent in $10 tip. Thank you very much, Daniel. I found a plug and play at my grocery outlet that is exact clone of the Worst Ever Console 2. The games are the exact same and are just randomized. All I can say is, Shayna, I was warned. Please tell Adam hello for us. I'll tell Adam that you're all saying hello. But here, why I'm mentioning Daniel's comment specifically is because the grocery store thing. Grocery store stuff. Okay. These video game systems, I don't know why, can be found at a lot of grocery stores. Everyone tells me you can find them at CVS, you can find them at any kind of like really rundown place, Shoppers Drug Mart if you're in Canada. It's just a thing you see all over the place, and I don't know why. And we seem to be getting more and more of them as time goes on because they're becoming cheaper and cheaper to create. So keep an eye out. Maybe you too can own one of these systems, but I really, really wouldn't recommend it.
Milk Mania. You collect milk. Next. Puzzle Pop. I'm sure I have played this before at some point, but I don't even care anymore. It's super boring and completely repetitive. Pearls. It's that flounder game again. Next. Hide and Seek. Yeah, it's just the old cup and ball game. Bravo! You changed the cup and ball game with a haystack and put a sheep in it. You reinvented the genre. You know what, Wireless 60? I'm gonna give you this one. Just one. Here you go. This game right here, this one's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It might be boring, but after you finish enough levels, it actually finishes. It doesn't even continue on forever. You know what? Fine. This is a good game. You did one good game out of 60.
Now, I would like to take back this comment. It has been my most regretful thing I've ever said. This game is not okay. None of the games on the Wireless 60 are okay, and this one sucked. Did you watch that sheep? That sheep did not go where it was supposed to. It appeared out of a random stack when it wasn't supposed to be there. Track that sheep down. It is exactly where I pointed it out the first time. For some reason, it just magically appeared in another place. I hate this game. I always have. And ever since I started rewatching this episode, I actually sat there and looked where it went and realized it didn't go there. Urgh. Hate this console.
One good game. And you know what? That's it. All 60 games, all of them in this tiny little box. That's all this thing has to offer, and not a single thing more.
I'm no stranger to bad games. But I am pretty confident that this is the worst console I've ever played, and it has some of the worst games I've ever played. So, yeah, don't buy it. If you ever see it in a store, avoid it. And if you see some mom or dad picking it up and they've got like a young kid with them, tell them that this is a bad console. Don't hide it. Just inform them. Be a good consumer. Teach other people to never play this console, because holy shit, is it bad.
Okay. So, that's the first episode. Now, here's something that's kind of fun. I create trailers or commercials sometimes for the episodes before they come out. So Worst Console Ever 2 has commercials that I'll show you in a bit. You have to like go way back on a Twitter timeline to find them and stuff. By the way, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you're more than welcome to. I'm always talking about the episodes that we're going to create and all that at ReresTV. Now, here's something that many of you probably think happened in a very like pre-planned way. I never thought I was going to make another Worst Ever System video. Never thought. The original Wireless 60, I only had seen that system. I did not know there was a sequel. I had no idea. And then when it turned out there was one, someone told me about it. There's a whole bunch of comments online, people telling me there's another system. I ended up ordering it online, and I think I spent maybe $100 or $200 on this. Like, it was way too expensive for its time. I should never have done this. But after that, and after so many people watched the first episode, I was like, okay, I got to put a lot more effort into this. So I worked with a friend of mine named Alex and Chris. They helped me with the cinematography, with doing drone shots and a whole bunch of other stuff. There's also some cutscenes from this episode that you never saw. I've got those clipped, and we're going to see them at the end. But to begin with, we're going to see some commercials. Digitrax just sent in a tip as well. Thank you so much, Digitrax. I'm really glad you guys like the series. And again, I'm so happy that everybody showed up. I was not expecting so many people to be here and like saying hi. Epic Elpier, thank you again for tipping as well. Okay, so here are the commercials that I originally created for the series. That I forget what song I'm using. Memories of Us, I think, but I warped it and I remixed it and stuff. So I'm going to play all the commercials back to back so you can see what they're like. All right, here we go.
Memories like the chorus of my
this? Why would they continue to make this? What's the point?
There can't be more than one Worst Console Ever, right?
Okay, so that was the end of those commercials. They were kind of weird. I'd never really done anything like that, but I was trying to make something kind of weird so that people would be interested in it. Because I knew a lot of people are interested in a sequel. They just probably didn't know they were going to get one, because I didn't even know we were going to make one, and then we did. Okay, so what we're going to do is watch the second worst ever. So this is about the Wireless Air 60. At the very end, I'm going to play some cutscenes that you never got to see and some explanations about stuff. And yeah, I'm going to let the intro here play in silence because I've always loved this. Epic Game Music did the intro music for this. Chris and Alex, they've got their own production company. They created the opening scene that you're about to see. So all this stuff, it was a big effort with a lot of people. And yeah, here we go. Okay, so first off, I just want to say this because it's been mentioned a couple times. What you saw there was all done with a drone, and that was an active railroad line. Well, may have been. We weren't 100% certain. I would never recommend shooting that footage the way we did. However, we had a gigantic camera floating in the sky that could show us a full scene around the railroad track, so we could see for miles in any direction, and there was nothing coming by. So we shot that as safe as we possibly could. But again, that's one of the ways that you shoot something like that. Not something I recommend anybody ever do, but that was a production team that did that, so it's a little bit different than just running onto some tracks and stuff. But anyway, back to the episode.
Respond to at the same time as putting that man, the Wireless 60.
The Wireless 60. Wireless 60.
Once upon a time, I made a video called The Worst Console Ever. And that was it. It was one video, but that's all it was. There can't be more than one worst console ever, right? But there is. Because the people that made The Worst Console Ever decided to make a sequel to The Worst Console Ever. I don't know why. The first one was bad enough. It was bad. Nobody would want to willingly make another version of the console. But they did. They did. And they didn't tell me why. They didn't tell me why. They didn't. You know, people out there told me that there was a sequel, but I didn't believe them because it didn't make any sense at all. You wouldn't make a sequel to that system, that Wireless 60. But they did. They did make a sequel. The Wireless Air 60. Now I know what you're thinking. How do you make a sequel to a Wireless 60? Well, you know what you do? You take everything from that first system and get rid of it. The sequel has nothing from the original except for the name, it seems. But one thing they also took away was the controller. You see, when they made the Wireless 60, what they were doing was they were ripping off the Wii, you know, motion controls, right? Like that, you know, the wiggle, the stick, okay, well that. They took that and they took it away from there. What they ended up doing was they took the Kinect, what Microsoft was making, and they copied that. Microsoft struggled with that system. They couldn't get it to work, and these guys copied that. So this is a knockoff of a system that didn't really work that well when it came out. That's what this is. It's the sequel to the Wireless 60.
And this is it.
So without further ado, let's go to the footage of me playing the system.
So what this console does is it actually...
Okay, so, yes, that was inspired by David Lynch, very much. I like David Lynch's movies and stuff, so that's kind of where that came from. The only problem with everything you just saw there is no script. Just like the Wireless 60, the Wireless Air 60 video, this entire video has no script because I couldn't memorize a script and be on the camera at the same time. So everything you've seen is completely off the top of my head, and that's how that worked. Which makes me look a little deranged, I think. But yeah, how it went.
It doesn't register your body, it just registers the movement of pixels going on. And when you move something on the camera, the pixels shift, and that's how it knows things are happening. So to start off, you have the choice between going with 2 players or versus a computer. Let's just go with this. So the Wireless Air 60 is kind of just like the Wireless 60. It's got 60 games, only this time instead of being broken up into 2 categories, they're broken up into 4. Skill, sport, arcade, and action. So let's just get the worst ones out of the way first. If this wants to work. I don't think it wants to work.
Okay, so every time you see me not getting the menu to work, that's a real reaction. I like, again, there is no script, and I was planning to say certain things in a certain way, but every time I would do any kind of movement, this system seriously just wouldn't do it. Now, I'm seeing people in the chat ask, what is worse, the Wireless 60 or the Wireless Air 60? Without a doubt, the Wireless Air 60. Hands down, this system is way worse to play. I absolutely despise it. I really, really do.
Tennis. This is the quintessential sports game that every single knockoff console tries to do, and they all freaking fail. To begin with, I don't even know why I'm this giant head at the end of the court, but we'll address that a bit later. For now, let's just look at the fact that this game just doesn't really respond properly. Now, while I am doing some choice cuts here where I actually do hit the ball, 9 times out of 10, I didn't, because the hit detection on the ball is unbelievably bad. This is insane. There's no way for the system to know when I'm hitting the ball at a certain point to avoid the net, so it just kind of guesses and randomizes when the ball actually does hit the net, which makes this one of the most frustrating tennis games you will ever play. Boxing. Imagine Wii Sports boxing without the controllers, and that's what you have here.
Okay, so in order to make this video work, what I had to do was I had to clear out an entire room, light myself properly just to get this thing to work, like with professional lights, because it couldn't see me otherwise. And that's what you're seeing. I'm in like a completely emptied room, and it's just all shot in such the craziest way. If you watch this video, this took me, I want to say 3 days to film, 3 or 4 days. Watch all the, because the reviews, all the games are played in order. Watch my face and my shirt, and just like my hair, everything ages. Like for 3 or 4 days, I don't shave, so you just see me get more disheveled as I go along, and I'm wearing the exact same shirt every single day, and I'm tired and I'm sweaty and I'm sick of playing this thing. So by the end of it, I'm actually going to be very furious with this thing. This is real. This is not fake. So yeah.
A sloppy, unresponsive, very difficult to play game that for some reason at the very beginning forces you to kind of stay in this little red grid, and it sucks. There is no way to hit this guy. It just does not work, but he sure as hell beats the sloppy shit out of you whenever he gets a chance. What was really strange was at the end of this boxing match, it decided to take a picture of my failure when I lost. Once it takes a picture, the photo just deletes because there's no way for this system to actually save any images. What the f***'s the point? Ping pong. What would happen if you took all of the graphics?
Pause. I just saw. I just got a question asked. Wireless 60 or Stadia? Ooh. That's a, the Wireless 60 works. Kinda. Don't think the Stadia does.
Graphics from tennis and change them a bit around to look like a completely different game. Only it's not a completely different game and it plays the exact same way as tennis. Then you get ping pong. Dear God, people, this is just the third title and they're already repeating games. Goalkeeper, some unseen players on the other side of the screen kicking balls at your face. Oh, isn't that fun? Oh, and also...
Why am I behind the net? This doesn't make any sense. If you wanted to play this again, you have to go back to the main menu, because the yes button is glitched. See? That's really weird.
Beach volleyball.
This is just tennis. I've already done tennis. I don't want to do tennis again with a beach ball. Why did anybody design these games? They changed the graphics, but everything's still the same. Oh, God. Why would anyone do this? It's so annoying. And the worst part about playing these games is that my wall is right here. This is a big space that I'm in, and I can't play this game any farther back because there's simply no more room in my house. I think they need you to play this damn system in like a stadium or something. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get the accurate small personness of this. And this camera on here, this camera doesn't zoom out. So no matter what you do, you're screwed. You might as well just sit here, smacking your head around for a beach ball. I hate this thing.
Golf.
Oh, come on, no. I don't want to play golf. It can't.
I gotta be honest, folks. I really don't like golf. At the best of times, a golf game, Hot Shots Golf is pretty fun. Maybe Golden Tee, maybe. But most golf games tend to be really, really bad. And this one just infuriated me so much.
Can't work that well. I don't really understand this. Think I'm supposed to be like this? I didn't swing! Why am I going into the forest?
Okay, so when I say I didn't swing, I was lining up to swing. Like, you know, you bring it back and then you move it forward, but it doesn't know that. It's just looking for movement. It's such a terrible game. I hated this one so much. I think I played this more than any other game because I needed to get better footage of it, but I just couldn't, no matter what I tried.
No, I didn't swing! Stop making me swing! I'm convinced that you actually don't need to play this game. It just plays itself, I think. I don't want to play golf anymore, but I don't know how to stop. There's no pause menu. There's no option to stop things. And if I move my hip, I'm gonna engage the swing. No, I swung again! Shit! You adjust the direction of your swing by shaking your hands up here. But you can't move anything down here or you engage the swing. So... oh, come on. There, wait. No, I didn't swing! I have to move so slowly. No, I didn't do it! Ah! I don't want to play golf anymore.
Baseball. It's not really baseball. See, there's only one pitcher and one guy up to bat, and there's no one else on the field.
What am I doing? Am I the catcher? I'm the pitcher.
This game is incredibly boring, but it does switch up the role where you're not only the pitcher, but you're also the guy up to bat, so that happens. But the gameplay is nothing like you'd expected. You kinda have to wave your hands in front of these circles at specific points, and it just doesn't feel like baseball. It's pretty bad. Skiing. Imagine the worst skiing game you've ever played and you wouldn't even be close to this one. Now you see those little left and right directional icons up on the screen there? Well, see, what you have to do is kind of gently wave your hands in front of them as fast as you can so that the skier kind of propels himself forward. But that's not the worst part of the game. The worst
Okay, what I like about this, you can see me trying to desperately figure it out in my head how this works. As the skier moves closer to like a ridge or something, the hill rises up. So as the hill rises up, your camera disappears, like your view of yourself disappears, so you can't see where everything is. This is just when you see these being played again, you just hate them that much more. Ugh.
Part is you have to kind of lightly let off one or the other so that you can turn left or right. This is incredibly dumb. But hold up, because this mechanic is gonna come back with a vengeance. Kung Fu. Don't you remember that game where you used to have like plates and weird shapes thrown at you and you used to beat them out of the air with your hands? Neither do I, because I'm pretty sure that's not what Kung Fu is. But regardless, that's what this game is trying to be. Convincing everyone in the world that it's an actual sport. And it's not. This game right here really sucks. Not because it has bad hit detection, because believe it or not, well, you kind of can't lose. As long as you keep your body kind of constantly moving, no matter what happens, all the shapes that are coming at you, you'll pretty much hit. This game's boring. Not because you can't hit things, but because you can't not hit things. Air hockey. Okay guys, look. This video game system has absolutely no way of tracking your hands, so why the hell did anyone think this was gonna work as a game? See, because it doesn't know where your hands are, you can literally just stay completely still and the puck will go right into the net. But if you really wanted to cheat, all you have to do is keep moving. See, if you move anything, your body, your hands, there is no way for this thing to define anything other than just movement on the screen. So if you just do this, well, you can't lose. This is dumb. Beach soccer. Okay guys, right off the top of the bat here, this game is not fun to play. See those dials and shit on the top and left? Yeah, that makes this game really not fun, because the moment you use any kind of mechanics like these to play a motion game completely removes the reason why you'd even make a motion console to begin with. What a waste of time. Shot clock. I don't know why they didn't just call this game basketball, but I'll tell you this much, this sucks. It uses the exact...
Okay, all right, this one's my favorite. We are playing a basketball game, looking forward at it while you're behind it. Do you see how dumb that would be? The basketball is being thrown forward, but because they could have done this sideways where it would have made a lot more sense, but by doing it front to back, you're actually playing basketball from behind the basketball net. Like, did no one think about that? Like at all? Also, what I really like as well is that at the bottom right, they wrote basket, but it looks like they ran out of like font for the E and the T, so it's Bask E-T.
Same mechanics as the last game. And that makes this really bad. Because if the last game wasn't very good using these same mechanics, why would this game be any better? Dodgeball. Okay guys, yeah, I get it. At some point, you saw a movie where kids in the US were playing dodgeball, and you thought, wouldn't that be fun if they made a game about dodgeball? Well, it's...
Wow. I didn't know that. Okay, that's the Money Ghost voice. I guess I must have done that in the past, and I didn't realize it. Huh. The ghost of the money you spent buying the Wireless Air 60. Things you discover.
It's not fun. Nobody likes playing dodgeball in f***ing gyms and real schools, so why would they want to come home and play this game in the comfort of their homes? Dear God, this is bad. I mean, look, it doesn't even really use any motion controls whatsoever. Those dials to the left and right and the little circle at the top, this makes this game basically a controller game, only without the controller. This is terrible. I hate it. Penalty shot.
Oh, not again. Just because you can change the graphics doesn't mean you've changed the game. This is the exact same game with a slight modification to the graphics. Look at it. This is just the basketball game again. This is just the game before that where you're kicking into a net. In fact, this is a net. This is hockey into a net. The aesthetic has changed, but the game of doing this to the circles is still the same thing. Why would anyone make this?
Why would they do this?
Curling.
Oh, everyone, look! It's the same f***ing game again! Woo!
Driving range.
I don't like golf! I don't like golf!
Bowling, this is bowling.
This has got to be the slowest, weirdest version.
Hey, I love my avatar up there. I think I was trying. It's supposed to be a pirate, but I was getting really upset, so I just did the stupidest face in it. That's my favorite avatar from this entire video. I don't know why. I just thought I'd point that out.
Of bowling I've ever played. So you wave your hand over the blinking ball here, then you have to select your aim to move a little bit, and then you can give your ball some spin, I guess. Then
Ball
you have
spin.
To use
That's an official
this
term.
to wave it so that your ball moves. I mean, who wants this? I don't understand this. The last bowling game on the Wireless 60 was boring, but I guess it sort of worked, maybe. This one works less. If anything, all the sports games I've played so far are worse than the sports games on the worst console ever. Because this thing sucks that much.
Now it's time for a very strange factoid about the Wireless Air 60.
Okay, so don't know why I did the Kermit the Frog voice there, but I totally did. Ooh, that's does Disney own them now? Yeah, that smells like a lawsuit.
Okay, so everybody have a listen to this. Now this right here is the menu music to the Wireless Air 60, but in fact it's actually...
Oh, wait a second, I know the answer. Stranger in Moscow, isn't it? Michael Jackson.
Wow, Leo, you just totally came up here and just totally stole my thunder for no reason.
I know them, no one can say I don't know them.
Leo.
Because I know everything.
Leo.
Stranger in Moscow.
Leo!
Hey.
What?
In Moscow.
Leo.
The stranger.
Leo.
In Moscow.
Leo!
Okay, so because Leo and Laser Frog worked on the original episode, I wanted to bring him back on this one too, so that's why that happened. He has, I think, one of the greatest voiceover voices ever, and he is incredibly funny. So how this worked out was originally I asked Leo to I gave him this Stranger in Moscow thing, and I told him just have fun, because again I wasn't writing scripts at the time, so he just brought out his harmonica and he started doing that. So I clipped together this weird thing. I love that stuff. It's so great. Leo is one of the funniest people I know.
Okay, so now we're done the sports games. We're gonna try something different, because I fear the arcade. So, let's try out skill. I guess.
Horseshoes.
Oh, not again. Why? Why do they keep doing this? And the computer player isn't even good.
Drum Master.
For some reason, the options here don't really work that well, so you really gotta get in front of it to get it to activate. I don't like this at all. This is stupid. This is dumb, it's confusing, and it's weird. It's Dance Dance Revolution, but there's no controls. The motion doesn't work for this stuff because it's not accurate, and if it's not accurate, you can't play properly, so the whole thing is just pointless. This is f***ing pointless. Why would anyone make this? Why would they continue to make this? What's the point? What's the point?
Hey kids, it's time to play number balls.
So the point of this game is that you just pick a balloon. It tells you to find a number down here, and you do. I don't get it. Is this an educational game? Is it teaching kids how to read numbers?
Wipe off.
I think by this point you can tell I'm getting very frustrated. I think we are on day 2 of constantly playing this system. Because what I would do is I'd wake up, I would make sure all the lighting and all the recording stuff was working, and I'd start recording, and I would just record all day. So this is coming into the second day, midway through the day. I'm getting frustrated. I don't want to play these games anymore, but we keep going.
A game where you clean things, I guess. They put something on the screen and you wipe it away by moving your body. This is just a terrible game. Good news is there's only 3 levels, but bad news is it doesn't really detect your body movements that well.
I'm wiping, but it just won't clean, no matter what I do.
Yeah, I don't think I ever beat
puzzle.
Nuh-uh. Not in a million years will you catch me playing this. Guys, this is a puzzle game. You need to use controls for a puzzle game, not motion stuff like this. It just can't work. And look, there's a time limit. This selects, I guess? Maybe? Nothing even seems to really work. Oh, who gives a fuck? Why would anyone make this?
I Spy.
It's another puzzle game that utilizes these kind of controls. That doesn't work, and the time limit still doesn't help.
Waiter, please.
This is pretty much Diner Dash. You know, that online game that everybody doesn't play? Well, here you can play it poorly, like this. You know why Diner Dash works? Maybe because maybe you're using touch controls, maybe you're using a controller. This doesn't work because motion controls were not made for Diner Dash.
Rope dancer.
Once again, this can't work because it's not motion controls. There's buttons on the screen you have to hit. No, I don't want to play again.
Making burgers. I don't even know why this one exists. All the problems from all the other games combined into one. You know what? You want to ask me, does this game work, Shane? Does this game work? Of course it doesn't f***ing work.
Why would they do this?
Okay, I could not make a single burger in that game, no matter what I tried, because the little burger patty or the bun at the bottom wouldn't match up with the stuff at the top. It was frustrating. I probably played it for maybe typically half an hour to see if the game would work. Every time you're seeing something like this, it's me having played the game for a stupidly long amount of time that isn't needed. And yeah, I just kept going until it was really a mistake.
Slice and Dice. It's a Fruit Ninja ripoff that doesn't work. Next. Chop Chef. You spend the whole time cutting cucumbers. I really don't know what the point of this game is. I don't even know how you lose. And Bride of Chucky over there is really freaking me out.
What? I don't know. I think it's a girl. I mean, possibly. Does it even matter? I mean, look at it. I don't care.
Keep the beat. The first thing you do is select a song.
Sushi Ska, Return Pharaoh, Jump Groove, Electrica Rumba, Icy Ice, Driving Fast.
Then after that, you kinda just aimlessly wipe your hands around circles in tune with the beat. It's a ripoff of DDR, again.
Hey, spoilers everybody! This game f***ing sucks! Who would have guessed it?
Darts.
Not again! Stop! Nobody wants to play games like this! Next you're gonna tell me there's like lawn darts or something that plays the exact same way.
Fuck you.
Lawn darts! Oh, joy! I love lawn darts, don't you?
Bag toss.
Hey guys, remember that game when you were a kid where you tossed bags into a hole? Good, because neither do I.
Okay. That game is called Cornhole. Yeah, I know a lot of people in the southern states know what it is. Northern area of North America, I didn't know what it was. I remember playing something like that when I was a kid, but it wasn't like in a box with a hole. I don't care if people actually played it. I thought that was a stupid, like, why would you want to play that as a video game? Do you know what I mean? The whole point of it is you're supposed to throw a bag into a hole with precision and skill, which you cannot do using the wireless Air 60. Anyway, at this point, I was like, we need to make sure that we're breaking stuff up, and the game video isn't all about games. So we went to an abandoned factory, and we shot this.
Oh boy, it's the wireless Air 60. Are you ever playing a video game system that you don't like because it costs too much money? Well, why don't you get a wireless Air 60? Guess what? It does everything you need, like play games. Do you not like buttons? Well, good, because this one don't have any. Get one now, it's good for kids.
Caution, the wireless Air 60 has been known to cause brain damage due to the painful nature of the gameplay presented in the product. Kids might beat their damn head off the wall to prevent themselves from further gameplay, hence the brain damage. Sold in all fine video game stores that hate your guts and maybe online even.
So, we've tried out all the skill games and all the sports games, so all that's left is arcade and action. Well, let's go with action first.
Sonic Fighter.
Alright, so it's a shoot 'em up, and you kind of move your character back and forth like this by touching these little buttons down here. This is a problem though, because every single shoot 'em up game I've ever played requires you to be using a controller, or at least a pretty decent touchscreen. But with this, if you move your body in the way of any of these buttons, you accidentally engage them. Like right there, somehow I engaged the power missile option, which I didn't mean to do, but it operates that way anyway.
You know what? I'm just gonna say this now. I know I said earlier that that other avatar was my favorite. That avatar is my favorite. That one right there is the best one from the entire video. Just gonna point that out because it totally is.
I'm pretty sure they stole these models from some other game.
Mighty Rescuer.
All you do is you bounce these items along the way into the truck over there.
Oh, so, as you can tell, there's probably, there's more than enough assets here from Metal Slug that are being stolen and put into this game. But the avatar broke here. You'll notice this happen. The avatar goes really big and really small once in a while. That's not me doing that. That's the Wireless Air 60 screwing up where the placement is supposed to be of it. Such a weird looking picture, isn't it?
And that's it. Every item does the exact same thing. It's not randomized. So all you need to do is remember that whenever you see a monkey, it kind of does a different movement than the chunks of meat and stuff. I have no idea why you're moving things into that truck, but you are. And the funny thing is, because there's no real hit detection or way for the game to know that you're
Okay, so I thought those are chunks of meat. They're actually grenades. So what they're doing is they're throwing a bunch of babies and monkeys into a van with a bunch of grenades. What happens next? Who knows? Probably not very good, though. For the monkey and baby, I mean.
cheating, you can just do this, and you can keep on winning no matter what. So if you keep this movement going on, you'll never lose.
Speed Rider!
Okay, this is some kind of weird collectathon game, and honestly, because of these graphics, you're gonna get a seizure. So really, the best way to play this is not to play it at all. These little handles here you can wave your hand in front of to move your character left and right, but honestly, I've actually gotten this game to beat itself by just walking away from the screen. So if this game turns on while you're playing it, well, now's a good time for a coffee break. See? I won.
Break the ice. I don't even know why they just repeat the same mechanics again and again, but they do! They find a way to do it, and there it is again. This is just another Kung Fu clone of a game they already copied previously, and it's exactly what it looks like. And look at the exquisite boredom on my face. That is what Break the Ice is. A boring, repetitive, annoying game.
Freestyle.
Now, I actually know how to swim in real life. You do these big movements like this to actually, you know, swim. But in this game, what you're supposed to do is doggy paddle. And that's how you win. You just keep doggy paddling.
Keep away.
So in this game, you're supposed to keep the ball away from the kids. That's it. You just hit the ball so that they can't grab it. That's all that happens. But because the game has a bad camera, all you really have to do is this. And you can never lose.
Cool cycling.
Okay, true story. After I did that for about 5 minutes. I got super dizzy and I had to sit down. Stupid thing for me to do in the video, but yeah.
So, here's a biking game, and this is how you play it. You take your hands onto both of these little icons here and flap them back and forth as quick as you can. If you flap one faster than the other, you move in that direction. So I recommend that you don't even care about the objects on the screen and you just keep flapping your hands back and forth. This is really weird though, because if you've ever ridden a bike in the real world, you're most likely using the pedals with your feet, not with your f***ing hands.
Super Motocross.
Oh, for God's sakes. This is exactly like the biking game, only now you're riding a motorcycle, and you have to keep doing this to keep your motorcycle going. Do you know of a motorcycle where you have to flap the handlebars back and forth so that you can keep accelerating? I kinda don't know one like that, but hey, whatever. Another game that's just copying another game they have in this series, but they just changed out the graphics. Good.
Jet ski adventure.
No! F off! You can't do that! You can't take the exact same game and just switch out the graphics! Look! The character model is still the same guy! He just happens to be on a jet ski now! This is a ripoff! Ah!
Surf's up.
I have no idea what you're supposed to do in this game. You kind of flap your hands up like that and your character just floats in the air. I think you're supposed to avoid the waves, but I'm not even sure that's what it is. This game just keeps going on for a really long time with no obstacles in the way besides this little wave going on. This game's completely f***ing terrible and weird. Fuck.
Crash Zone.
So here's what you do in this game. You move your...
Okay, so I see people in the chat mentioning, wow, you swore a lot at the beginning. Okay, so there is an uncensored version of this episode, exclusive to patrons and stuff like that, and I think I posted it up on Twitter for everyone to see. But, yeah, the fact was, by this point, yeah, okay, you can see facial hair growing around my chin there. Yeah, I was couple days into this now, so I'm getting really frustrated with having to play this, and it's not fun. So that's why that's happening, because every time I have to play it, I'm getting more and more frustrated with it. Sometimes I would have to go back and re-record an entire game, so it stopped being fun really quick. So I just started getting more salty as it went, unfortunately.
Hands over objects to make them drive faster. The point is, you have to move cars in a specific way so that they avoid getting in accidents. The problem is, you can't slow down cars. They only go fast. But the guys that were designing this game were so lazy that they actually forgot to turn certain cars around. So some cars go forwards, some cars go backwards, and that's it. Oh, good. The game crashed. I know you can still hear me, but this is what a game crash on this game looks like.
Yeah, so this is any game, this will happen on the wireless Air 60 a lot. If a game has some kind of glitch or error, it will lock the frame of the video and it will just keep it there. So what you're seeing here isn't broken video or broken stream. This is literally what it looks like when the game crashes, like for real.
Fuck.
Shuffleboard.
Oh, hey, look everybody, it's shuffleboard. You know, like curling for older people. Oh, and look, those wonderful circles and fucking gauges are back again. Hey, pro tip, you game developers out there, if you make 70,000 versions of the exact same game using the exact same mechanics, it doesn't change shit. This is just darts, this is just bowling, this is just everything. This circle and gauge mechanic is a lazy way to make motion sensing games because you didn't know how to do motion sensing. This is super f***ing lazy. So you know what? I'm not even gonna touch this game because I know it blows. So why don't you f*** off?
Ancient secret. What are you doing? Just hitting spears out of the air? This is stupid. This is just stupid. Juggling. Okay, you insane f***ing lunatics. There's no way you can call this juggling. Look at it. There is a net. I'm hitting soccer balls into the net. Does this look like juggling?
Maybe I'm just overreacting, right? Well, you know what? The original Wireless 60 had a couple of extra problems I didn't really address in the video. See, the original Wireless 60 has this weird bug. When you try to capture it with a capture card or something like that, well, it changes frame rates and resolutions freaking all the time. So when it happens, the entire card just crashes. Now, the original Wireless 60 I played about 4 times, all the games for hours and hours and hours. And this one, this one did the same thing, only it was longer. Hey, do you know how many days I've been playing this system? Do you? Okay, let's say you want to get to that.
I was I forgot how crazy that looks. Yeah, so in that scene where I'm in the basement, it's because I had to clear out the entire basement to be able to film the system being played, right? So I think by that point, it was the last day. It had been days and days and days. Editing, video work. I'm wearing the exact same shirt. I think there's like large circles under my eyes, but that might have been makeup or something. I don't even remember. It was such like I was just so tired of having to do this video that it just, by that point I was just done. I was completely done.
That back icon up there, do you see that? You gotta get your hand through action, arcade, and kinda get it through there. And just not engage action. And do this. Oh, almost got arcade. Huh? Huh? Okay, so we're done sports, we're done skill, and now we're done action. All that's left is arcade. Now I left arcade for the very end because, see, traditionally arcade games require some use of a controller, some hard input device. And while sports games, skill games, and action games can be done with movements, arcade games traditionally are not. So, this I saved for last, because I think this one is going to give me an aneurysm. But let's try it out anyway. Still going.
Oh, I hated this so much.
Almost there. Almost there. Come on. Select. There we go.
Don't break the eggs or you'll hurt the babies.
All you need to do is move your hand in front of these birds' nests to capture eggs. If you drop 3 eggs, it's game over. And as you can tell, the hit detection doesn't work that well because, well, it's the motion of this system just not working properly. But you know what? If you really wanted to win this game and never lose, all you need to do is just do this. If you do this, you're moving pixels in front of the camera, so it just can't lose. No matter what, you're always going to be moving something in the area where these birds' nests appear, and you'll always catch an egg. I feel really stupid right now. Drift. Remember the biking game we played? Remember all those other games we played? They did it again! Only this time you're paddling. Good. Good, this is what I want. This is why I bought this system, so I can fake paddle with my hands. Oh boy, I'm having a whole hell of a lot of fun playing this system. They seriously need to stop!
Galaxy Ping Pong.
Oh, this is bullshit. A breakout clone? You guys put a breakout clone in this system? The one thing you need to make breakout good is a dial or at least a D-pad. And what did you do? You got rid of that for motion controls. You made a motion control video feed f***ing breakout game. How the f*** could you do that? That's insane. No one would do that. But you did. You stupid, stupid motherfucker.
Glass water.
That's paddling.
Mole mash.
The hit detect.
Okay, I think I actually have Fly Swatter filmed more. So after we're done watching this, I will show you the outtakes that we have and some behind the scenes footage that was edited together already. So it actually kind of looks like a finished video. So you'll see that in a couple minutes.
Action on this game is just god awful. It doesn't really work all the time, even when you're just hitting them when you're supposed to be hitting them. This is basically just whack-a-mole, but they changed the name to Mole Mash because I guess they were fans of stupid shit. Fuck it.
Star Force.
So this game's very much like the Fly Swat game. All you're doing is waving your hand in front of things and destroying them. This game's really irritating though because the hit detection sometimes doesn't work that well for this device. And because it doesn't work well, it can't register when you're actually moving stuff. You know that little trick where you just stay in front of the screen really close and move around? Well, that doesn't work in this game because the hit detection is so that you may not actually hit everybody. Like, good. But I lost. What's this?
Obstacle race.
So in this game, you're Bugs Bunny in a pink jogging suit, and you're just rubbing your hands on these dials as quick as you can to get Bugs Bunny to run fast. And then whenever you...
Trevor Tornadoes just asked, how much money did I spend for this system? I think it was around $100 or $200 with shipping included with that cost. It was, nobody wanted it, right? It was a kind of a rare system when I bought it. I know that sounds stupid, right? But no one was buying these things. So it was just very, very rare at the time. Yeah. Hawk just commented, Star Force, terrible game, or copy protection. Who knows? They could be both. I hate this thing.
Jump, you swing both hands in front of those two weird things there. But the hit detection's bad, like every other game, so guess what? It's just not gonna work. Plus, I've never ever wanted to play a running game where I used my hands to run. This is seriously annoying, and I'm getting real sick of them reusing these stupid mechanics. You know, in the bike game it was difficult, but in this one, they made it more difficult by including 4 buttons. Guys, I'm a human being with 2 arms, and like, no way have the ability to touch all these buttons at the same time. Holy fuck, he looks scary. Oh God, put it down.
Jogging.
So this game repeats the biking game mechanics. It just repeats it over and over and over again. But in this game, something different happens. Your character runs out of steam, and he's got to quickly breathe to regain his health, I guess. And then, once he's done, you keep running. But you quickly lose health. The trick to this game is you gotta move your character over to a certain area to pick up something like pop or maybe some apples, like right there. But it's so hard because there's just no way to really control the character when you have to keep moving your hands back and forth like a moron. Come on, move, move, move!
Falling fruit.
So here's a game where you catch falling fruit. Now look guys, this game may have been okay if you're using some kind of controller, but because you're using these on-screen motion controls, well, it's just not good. And something weird that happens in this game is once in a while the fruit comes down and it's explosive, like it's a bomb and it actually hurts your character. I have no idea why that happens, and the fruit that does that looked as normal as any other fruit. They just randomly happen once in a while. Like right in there. This game's stupid!
Pinball Adventure.
I'm a really big fan of pinball, like really big fan. But I don't think anyone in the history of the planet ever asked for a pinball game that used motion controls. Ah! So in this game, a monkey holds up a fruit, and when he's holding up a fruit...
Of all the games on this console, this is my favorite scene. Everyone at Rerez that watches this likes this scene the most. It's like, it's our favorite thing to quote.
You have to select which basket it goes in. Bananas, grapes, apples, or pineapples. And that's all you really have to do. It's kind of simple, there's really not much to it. I mean, I understand how to play it, and I'm an idiot. So if you want to play a fruit sorting game, this is the game for you. And it really doesn't have any issues other than the fact that it just takes a while to engage the fruits and stuff. But hey, you know, as long as you can play, that didn't work properly. As long as you can figure out where fruits go, you're kind of okay. Where the f does the twig go?
UFO Defiance.
So
I was not expecting a twig to show up. I mean, I don't know what that was, but the game is just so broken. Like, why did they only had to create 4 fruits to throw into bins, and then they just created a twig. What?
Another one of those games where you're just hitting things. Hit detection sucks, like everything else, but whatever. It's just you hitting UFOs.
Crocs on parade.
Here's a game where you beat crocodiles before they eat a bunch of meat. That's the game. That's all it is. And it sucks!
Ocean Depths.
So this is it, the last game. But I don't know what it's about. There's like some fish in the corner, a score, and like I guess a health bar at the bottom, but it doesn't make any sense. There wasn't any rules when the game started, it didn't tell you what to do, so you kind of just wave your hand in front of the fish and they either fly faster away or they just go in wrong directions or something. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I can't. Why would you make this game? What was the purpose? They must have known this was gonna be the last game I was gonna play. They had to have known. How else would they make a game that had seemingly no purpose? This is it, huh? This is the test, isn't it, Wireless Air 60? This is the one you want me to lose my on. Well, f***ing congratulations, cause it f***ing worked! I think that...
Not fake. That can't. I did punch the Wireless Air 60, and it did disconnect. That's exactly what it looked like. Except the interruption there, the actual like distortion that I added on because it just went black, basically. But yeah,
that's it. I don't think we ever have to make another one of these. Because there can't be another sequel to this system, right guys? They just can't do that. They can't make a Wireless Air 62. That would be impossible. So...
Oh, some of you are saying, did I rage quit? Did I break it? No, I didn't break it there. Took it somewhere else and broke it later. That's in the video.
Oh, I'm glad we're done. But remember, this thing must be destroyed. It's up to us to kill it. So if you ever see one, if you ever find one, break it, bury it, set it on fire.
But don't worry, I know exactly what to do with the one that I own.
So, the ending there was shot in my garage at my house, and my neighbors were walking by and saw me beating a thing with a hammer, which probably looks psychotic, but yeah, that's what I did at that point. The reference, the camera is pulling away from the system because it's a reference to the beginning. We start up the episode by the camera coming down from high up and going all the way in and zooming in on the console, and then me beating it up, it's dead, and that's like its spirit leaving the system. That's why that was shot that way. I know that looks stupid, but that's why we did that. So yeah, the next thing we're going to be showing off is some cutscenes that you never got to see in the final version of the episode. But yeah, there was a lot of people that were involved in the creation of that episode, and it was hard. That was not an easy episode to make. It took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort, but it's one that I'm pretty proud of. Like, I mean, it's the whole problem with that system originally when I was looking at it was I didn't expect there to be so many issues with it. I was expecting it to be the kind of system that, you know, you just play it, have fun with it, whatever, but it didn't work. It wouldn't track your movements. The games constantly crashed, and you would have to replay a game again and again and again to get any usable footage. It was a nightmare. So, with that being said, I'm going to show you the end of the Patreon version of this video, and that's where you will actually see all the cutscenes and the outtakes. And I think I already tell everybody what's going on in the cutscene, so I don't have to say anything, but yeah, here it is, folks, the ending of that piece. And there are some really cool scenes in here you may not have seen before, and some explanations as well. So, enjoy.
Here's a selection of outtakes that didn't make it into the final cut of the episode. Some of these things just didn't fit in because of time and a whole bunch of reasons. Enjoy.
Okay, this is kind of funny. I'm a big fan of this series from the UK called Red Dwarf, and there's this character on it named Rimmer, and he does this weird way of saluting people by moving his hand around like that and then, you know, saluting. Well, if you do the Rimmer wave,
Well, you can actually activate things on the game system way easier because you're moving a lot of things around at a certain time. So, if you do this, it easily engages things. So anytime you need to select something, just do the rimmer wave. For instance, the only thing that makes these really terrible games that much worse is actually trying to get everything to work. It's basically Diner Dash. You know, you collect money and food from tables and customers, bring them around to places, but that doesn't work when you're using touch controls! I'm wiping, but it just won't clean, no matter what I do. That entire game is finished because there's only 3 things you have to wipe to clean. But the way to win is to get really close and just do this. We use 2 drone shots in this episode, and each drone shot is actually done backwards. We shoot it in kind of this weird way so that when I go to edit it, I just reverse the footage to give it the impression that it's doing something else. See, in reverse, the image looks a lot smoother, so that's why we do it that way. I also added in some stabilization. These videos are originally 4K in resolution, so I'm able to crop in and kind of adjust everything to keep it stable so that the video kind of doesn't look shaky. But here are the original uncut pieces of footage from the opening and the ending. The opening drone shot was actually filmed in Cambridge, Ontario, actually more specifically Hespeler, Ontario. This was done in a bridge. Now this entire shot is real and not really edited in any way, but one thing we had to do was that all of the sound effects at the very beginning that you hear of the wind and all that stuff, that is all fake. Realistically, if you were to turn on a microphone on this drone, if it had one, all you would hear is the drone's really loud propellers. So all the sound effects you're hearing in the beginning are all completely generated. None of it is real. The fly swatter review sequence actually was fully shot. I just didn't really want to use all the stuff I said because I thought it was funnier to jump and scream like this. But here's what I actually did as a review. I can't believe you ripped off Mario Paint. Of all the games you had to rip off, the fly swatting game from Mario Paint's the place you go to? I mean, why? Why did that fly take so much of the cake? That's insane! How fucking strong are these flies? The worst part of this game is that when the flies get really close and get to that, like, table area, well, you don't see where your hands are, so you kind of have to guess. But just like every other game in the system, all you gotta do is this so you can never lose. It's so freaking annoying. Ah! I discovered something really funny about this console. See this 2-player option here? See, this is marketed on the box by saying this console's fun for the whole family. But guess what? All the 2-player games on here are the exact same games from the single-player experience. The only difference is, every time a player dies, the other player now takes their turn. That is the dumbest 2-player thing I've ever seen in a console. They're all replicated, 1-to-1. There's no difference. There's not even a gap to put like another player in it to play. This is the dumbest fucking console I've ever seen. And for the last outtake, if you watch this entire video, you'll probably notice that on the top left or bottom right or somewhere in the corner of any of these games I'm playing, there's a weird little picture that looks like me with some cartoon look all over it. Well, that is the avatar system built into this game console, which I didn't want to talk about because honestly, we were running out of time with this video already going over in 38 minutes. So I cut all these sequences out because I didn't feel like they needed to be there. They just added a lot of weight and made the video way too long. I want to give all the patrons a special thank you for making this video happen. Honestly, it just wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for your support.
All right, and there's all the credits and stuff. Yeah, so there is a version of this with swearing. There is no censorship on it or whatever, and that's what that's from. So that's where you actually see that. But yeah, so it's so weird because you think you use everything in an episode, but there's just so much that some things don't really fit with the context of the entire episode. And it actually would have extended it to make it even a longer episode, which I don't think we needed because they're just There's already way too much stuff that we were going on to. And yeah, so after that, I stopped working on episodes. Like the actual review portion was just by myself. The next time we did a video was on the worst plug and play. So after the worst ever 2, I did not think there was going to be another worst ever console. I was certain there was only 2 systems. That's it, right? I wouldn't know that there was a third one until much later, and that was going to be its own thing. But I went to a video game swap, and while I was there, this guy was selling controllers, and the controller had a shopping channel sticker on it. By the way, you can go to the official shopping channel Wikipedia page right now, and my name is on there showing off this controller. I don't know who put that there, because we don't even have a Wikipedia page for Re-Res, but I thought it was neat for that to be there at all. So the shopping channel videos, what we're going to be watching next, when I first started it, I didn't think it was going to be a worst ever, but it just kind of evolved into that. And I think we launched that video, and it went live as I was driving from Ontario to Washington, D.C. to go to MagFest for the first time. So it just kind of exploded while I was there. I didn't expect it to happen, but yeah, here we go. I like this video a lot. I like this, the way we did this quite a bit. So here we go.
Taking a look at a bunch of really bad video game consoles here on Re-Res, and most of these systems are clone consoles that are just ripped off from some other manufacturer without them knowing, and reproduced and mutilated in horrific ways. Now the console I'm going to show you today came from a manufacturer that I wasn't even aware made video game systems, but apparently at some point during the Nintendo 64 era, they made this. This is the shopping channel plug-and-play video game system, and is by far one of the worst consoles I've ever looked at.
This system was most likely not actually made by the folks at the shopping channel, but they imported it and branded it with their own sticker and stuff. Now, I really don't know why they did this, but I have to assume that when they saw the release of the Nintendo 64, the shopping channel wanted in, and they wanted something that would appeal to a whole bunch of parents out there that had kids that wanted Nintendo 64s. But instead of giving them something like an actual Nintendo 64, or God forbid, an actual PlayStation system that had 3D graphics, they went with the cheapest option possible, a kind of N64 looking controller with 15 terrible NES games built into it.
Now before we take a look at those 15 games, and believe me, you're gonna want to stick around for that, let's take a closer look at this controller. Now right off the top, you're gonna notice that it's got an analog joystick.
And of course, because this system is an NES on a chip, it would never make use of analog inputs.
Which this definitely isn't. What it is one of these D-pad faceplate things underneath a bit of plastic with a little stick sticking out. It's horrible. It really isn't that responsive at all, and if you're gonna have to use this thing, you're gonna wanna use this D-pad shield thing here, which by the way, also doesn't work that well because it's just not tuned properly.
So let's say you forgive these folks for making one of the worst analog joysticks I've ever used and one of the squishiest D-pads ever presented in any console I've ever played. But what I can't forgive them for is this. All this console is an NES on a chip, so why it has 6 face buttons to the right is the most confusing thing I've ever seen. All the games built into this system only utilize A and B, but what they've done is they've duplicated each button twice for turbo functionality with C, X, Y, and Z. I don't know why anyone would need that many buttons that do the exact same thing, but here it is for some bizarre reason. So, let's talk about the games. As soon as you turn on the system, you're greeted to the 15-in-1 title screen that also happens to have 2 hastily drawn dogs standing on water. And from this menu is where you select one of the 15 games to play. But let's start off with the very first one, World Cup 2000. Now from the title screen, you're probably assuming that this is from a company called New Game Star, and they made this game in the year 2000. But see, that's not quite accurate, because this game is actually soccer from Nintendo, a game released in 1985 on the NES. Now of course, because of how bad this console's controller is, this game is an absolute nightmare to control, but the gameplay is essentially the same as you'd find on the NES. but it's the visuals that are different. At the top of the NES original, you see the score and the time left on a match, which is just normal, right? But on this one, there's skulls at the top. Another thing that's weird is that all of the character models in this game have horns for some reason, which isn't in the original, and it makes them all look like little demons. On the original NES version of this game, you see these flags on the sides of the soccer field, but in this version, you're seeing dead bodies. I don't exactly know what all of this means or why these changes were implemented, but I'm pretty sure what they're trying to insinuate here is that this is a soccer game being played in hell. And unlike the original version of soccer, sometimes this one will do weird stuff like this.
And now we get to find out what I was actually saying. Ready?
Unlike the original version of soccer, sometimes this one will do weird stuff like this.
We are the shopping channel, and we will own your soul. Buy things, buy things. That's what I recorded into that, and I did that specifically because I thought it would be funny. I think a couple people did rewind it to play it originally, but they couldn't actually make out what was being said. So, yeah, that was actually what was being said. That's the time you're hearing it, I guess. So, yeah, funny, cool. The episode.
Another game from New Game Star. Unfortunately though, this is another ripoff. It's actually Battle City from Namco. In the original release of this game, you drive a tank while shooting at a bunch of enemies and protect this iron emblem you have that's hidden behind a wall. However, in this bastardized version of the game, you're a naked man shaking his dick at oncoming enemies. I've got no idea why his dick's out, but there you go. It's there and everyone can see it, and I don't think there's any way to really hide what he's doing. You can shoot things out of your dick, and that's a thing you can do. You know, I thought the Demon Soccer game was gonna be about as weird as it got, but nope. Here we are, playing this. For our next ripped-off game, we're taking a look at Wimbledon Champ 2000. Now, I believe they meant Wimbledon, which is a real tennis championship, but I guess they just didn't know how to spell that word, so here we go. This is just tennis from the NES, that's all this game is, but they've just decided to screw up the visuals a bit. All the character models are now wearing skirts and have pigtails for some reason, but they've gone even further and changed the chair umpire's model. In the original Nintendo release of this game, he looked like Mario, but in this version they removed his hat and also changed the chair to look more like a milking machine of some sort. Or some kind of weird satellite. I really don't know what he's sitting on, but it certainly isn't a chair. Our next game is called WF Law, which is actually a ripoff of Tag Team Match Muscle. However, let's take a closer look at that logo. Now, call me crazy, but that definitely looks like somebody bent over pulling their butt cheeks apart, which is a very bizarre kind of logo, but I think it was done for one single purpose, and that purpose was to warn people or scare them away from having to play this game. Now look, I'm not a big fan of this game originally because there are far better wrestling games out there, but this version of the game has been made even worse by using one of the most disgusting color palettes I could have ever envisioned. It's all green and toxic looking. You just can't look at it for too long because it actually hurts your eyes. And because of the ridiculous color choices they made on this hack, it almost looks like these characters are farting on each other instead of wrestling. It's really weird. There were a bunch of way better wrestling games on the NES and on the Famicom, and they decided to take one that was just bad to begin with. I guess it would have been harder to steal a better game, maybe? Next up on the chopping block is On the Road, which is a ripoff of 1985's Road Fighter from Konami. Now this is a very strange game, because what they've done here is they've modified almost all the sprites to look just a little bit different, but they've also done one additional thing which just confuses me. Now originally they had fuel to the right here, but in this version of the game they've added food, because obviously changing fuel to food would trick everyone into thinking that they're not actually playing the original game. Now I can play the original Road Fighter pretty well, but this version of the game seems to be a little bit off. Even when taking into consideration how bad the controls are on this console to begin with, the controls seem to be a little bit less responsive than you'd be expecting. And additionally, because they've modified virtually all of the on-screen sprites in this game, the hitboxes are off, which makes it almost a damn impossibility to play properly. Number 6 on the 15 games is a game called Boat Race, which initially looked like something I had never seen before.
Now see, when I first played this game, I thought it was something original, because I'd never really seen a boat racing game in this perspective on the NES. But here's my problem. As soon as I engaged the acceleration on this boat here, I heard something. That, right there. Did you hear that? That's tires squeaking. So immediately I thought, well, you know what? This is just a palette swap of some game that actually had cars. And of course it is. This is the exact same game as this. That's all it is. They just did a pretty neat palette swap, but at the end of the day, it's just a palette swap one-to-one with this game. They didn't even bother to change the music or sound effects.
Little would I know that this game would come back again and again and again and again. I've seen so many hacks of F1 Race, it's ridiculous. It's been on every knockoff system, every bootleg console. There's always some weird variant of it. And they don't rip off F1 Race, they rip off Boat Race, specifically Boat Race, because they hack Boat Race to pieces the more and more you get through it. It's really bad. And it's been like that. It's been going that way ever since, honestly.
And which is weird, because you've got tires squeaking in the water!
Now this game is kind of funny. It's called Top Gun Mission, but it actually isn't Top Gun. You see, Top Gun doesn't look like this. What this game is Sky Destroyer. But what's hilarious about this game is they switched out the colors. Now see, while you're playing it here, it looks like you're flying over some grasslands or something, but see, all of that in the original game is actually water. Heck, even when you crash into this ground, you still splash like it was water. Just such laziness. The next game on this set is called Autumn Hunt, which clearly is, yep, that's just Duck Hunt. They've really messed with the graphics here, and it is really awkward looking. I mean, those ducks don't even look like they have heads, and the dog is now a Dalmatian for some reason. This is just a very strange looking version of this very iconic game, but it gets even worse when you stop and think about this game being included on this set.
So you've got a knockoff version of Duck Hunt on this system. But why is that a problem? Well, look at the console. This is it. This is all I got. This game doesn't work when you're playing with this controller. Even all the extra 6 buttons don't do anything. But here's the really big problem. Let's say you do have an NES zapper that you want to hook up to this so that you can play it on a good old-fashioned CRT monitor. Well, that's not going to happen, because the input underneath is the same input from an Atari or a Sega Genesis. I've got no idea why they use that controller input method. I have to assume that at some point when you bought this thing originally from the shopping network, they would actually give you a bundled zapper, but as far as I'm aware, it doesn't exist, and I couldn't find one, and when I bought this was all I got with it. So that's it. Useless game.
So after that waste of a game, we now have UFO shooting, which is just clay shooting, which was included with the original release of Duck Hunt.
See, that's stupid. All they did was they took a game that was already included with Duck Hunt and broke it off into 2 separate games. Basically, they just kind of faked their way through 15 games. But why the hell would you do that? And what makes it worse, this is another game you can't play because you don't have a zapper input for this.
Now, as we've seen, all the games on the system so far have been copies of NES or Famicom games that already existed in the past and were just hacked and modified in slight ways to be on the system.
Now, something interesting I noticed about this is that on the back, it's got a little faceplate over an area where it looks like you could put cartridges. If not NES cartridges, maybe Famicom carts. So I decided to open the thing up and take a look at the back. And you can see that there was some evidence of some kind of input connector method for the bottom here. So I believe there might be variations of the system somewhere out there where you can actually put cartridges on here. And when you...
There were! I actually found them afterwards. I think we have one in our studio, just like lined up for a future video. But yeah, that's what that was. Originally, you could have put other games in there, but the reason why they switched it out, as far as I'm to understand, is because the shopping channel was selling it in North America. You couldn't get Famicom carts here, so they wouldn't be able to use that cartridge slot. So they just filled the mold up, and then they just created that. It's cheap, and it's still not effective.
Open it up and take a look, all they're doing is just bypassing all that stuff off into a single chip so that you can just play that one ROM with these 15 games that are bundled into the system. That's all this is, a knockoff clone system that can't even play cartridges. That just makes it even worse.
So, the next game on the list is City B2000, which is just City A2000, just with a different title screen.
What? There's only 15 games and you duplicated them? Why would you do that? You only had to have 15 knockoff games and you copied one of the games. What is the purpose of that?
But it gets worse, because the very next game, called Mission Impossible, isn't Mission Impossible at all. It's just Top Gun Mission again. Nothing has changed. It's the exact same game they gave you earlier on, but again, for some reason. And the next game, World Rally Champ, is just on the road again. But see, what they did to change this game out is they start you off right at Course 2 instead of Course 1. You can still get to this level by playing the very first version of this game on the game system, but I guess for people that just want to get to level 2 a lot quicker, all they have to do is click on this game. And the next game after this is called Rugged Racer, which, let me guess, yes, absolutely, it's just Course 3 from On the Road. But what makes this even worse is that this is one of the original levels from Road Fighter from Konami, but they've simply butchered it. Look, for some reason, your car starts off in the dirt on the side of the road, and as soon as the game begins, you clip right back onto the street. Every time they introduce a new version of this game, the game seems to be hacked more and more to the point where it's almost unplayable. I mean, they simply can't keep copying this game, right? But wait, we've got another game on this list that might be another one, Highway Star, and yes, it's Course 4 from the exact same game.
Why would you do this? That doesn't make any sense. You already copied the game 3 times. Why would you need to copy it again?
As if having 4 versions of the same racing game isn't bad enough, the final title on this 15-game epic is called Grand Prix Champ. And I'm pretty sure you're all assuming it's gonna be that racing game again. Well, you'd be wrong. It's the boat racing game being repeated.
Oh, this is just insane. 15 games and you copied them again and again? Why would you do this? There had to have been 15 games you could have ripped off from any source, but you guys were so lazy that you didn't even copy other games, you just copied your own stupid games. And look, some of these games have weird variations and differences between them, but they're just bad hacks, bad modifications that are just terrible with what they are. This is god-awful.
Trying to find anything positive in this console is pretty much an impossibility. I mean, I was expecting it to be bad, but not this bad.
So there you have it, mostly 15 games that are just awful, being played on the plug-and-play system from the shopping channel. But this is what confuses me. Those 15 games, even the duplicates, are from other manufacturers who still own the code for these games. And Duck Hunt being a really big Nintendo property, why the heck did they not get sued or served a cease and desist for selling these systems? Maybe they did. And maybe that's why these things don't exist anymore. But I like to hope that maybe the shopping channel wised up and figured, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't screw people over by selling them these things. Because if I woke up one morning and my parents gave me this as a gift, I probably would have hurled it right back at their faces.
Okay, so Yeah, that episode was really fun to make. And when I went to go buy it, there was actually like, I want to say 3 or 4 more. And the next time I went to a Game Swap where everyone was selling those things, there was just a bin filled with them. So I know a lot more people bought them. And none of them came with a gun or anything like that to shoot for Duck Hunt. But there had to be something that would work with it. I would assume possibly. I see a couple people in the chat were mentioning the Master System gun. That could have been it, right? The Zapper or the light gun or whatever it was called. Could have been one of those that might have worked with it. Problem was I just didn't have one at the time. So and to be fair, you don't want to plug in random controllers into those things because you might actually break the real controller or the system itself. You don't know where it came from, you don't know how it's wired, and you don't know how it works. It's something you need to be wary of when you're looking at those things. But yeah, that was, after those episodes, everything else that was done on Re-Res ended up becoming bigger and bigger, and we started covering larger devices with other people involved. So that's kind of how that evolved and changed. But yeah, that is kind of where the worst ever series built from. Those first 2 episodes were introducing the wireless systems, and that third one was proof that we could do worst ever episodes on any system that I deemed worst ever. We are working on a new one right now. I don't want to spoil it, and we have another one that we just got in a couple days ago, and we're trying to figure out how to cover it. It's kind of strange, but believe me, folks, we've got so many of these systems. There's actually a system we have that's a penguin, literally a model of a penguin, and that's the system. And trying to cover that is hard. So we're still looking at ways to cover things in different kinds of systems to cover in a variety of different ways on the show, but there will be more episodes coming out very soon on that. So I'm going to go to the chat now and talk to everybody here. So I just want to mention too, we're going to be streaming 2 or 3 times a week on Twitch. We just started streaming there about 2 weeks ago. We just got our affiliate on there, so that's why we're telling everybody to go there. If you miss Hot Take, both Adam and I are going to be doing a weekly video game news roundup show live. Hot Take was done live before. You may not have known that. It was just live to tape. But now we're going to be doing it live on Twitch. And I'm going to be playing weird games every twice a week as well. This Monday on Twitch, pretty sure this Monday on Twitch, I'm going to be playing a game that isn't out yet. And we got signed up to be able to stream the game early. So for, I think, 2 hours, we're going to be the only people streaming this game anywhere in the world. So that's going to be on Monday, and it's going to be pretty fun. I'm excited for that. So yeah, questions and comments. Folks, ask away. I saw somebody asking about working with the AVGN and Cinemassacre and stuff. They're friends of mine. The folks at Cinemassacre, I've been on rental reviews. James and Justin Silverman and I, we sat there and we reviewed the Super Mario Brothers movie, which I like that movie a lot, and that's why I wanted to be on that episode to talk about that with them, because I think it's a hilarious and fun movie. I don't think it's a bad film. I think a lot of people hate it, but I don't. And I've been on an AVGN episode where I think it was... Shoot, it was an... Oh, wow, I just forgot what it was. It's a NES adapter console, and you plug it up in a very specific way. I can't believe I forgot the name of that system. Yeah, that's gonna haunt me. If anybody remembers what it is and you throw it up in the chat, I'll remember it. The Aladdin, thank you. Yeah, the Aladdin episode. At the very end, you'll see me in the Aladdin box that's in front of me blows up, and that's in the AVGN episode. Yeah, I've known those guys for a while. When I first started up YouTube, I got to meet the Cinemassacre folks, and yeah. Oh, wow. Star Fox logo doesn't work there. Yeah. That was a really fun thing to be a part of. Oh, and yeah, I'll share out the Twitch channel again there so you guys can see it. I'm pretty excited about Twitch because I'm really excited to do Hot Take again with everybody, because that's something that we had to kind of give up recently because we all can't hang out together in the same room. So doing it online and having just like a fun chat with everybody live as we talk about video game news, that's really what I'm going for. Someone asked me if I have the Atari VCS, the new one. No, I do not. I gotta be honest, folks. Judging by what I've seen of it so far, it is a worst ever contender. I don't want to say it is one until I've actually picked up the system and used it. It took me a while to play the Stadia and really figure out if that was worth making a video on. But yeah, that's definitely one. Skellen Gitor asked, do you plan on reviewing an Amiga 32 or CD32? A friend of mine named Scott, Scott the Canadian, that's his online name. He actually loaned me his Amiga CD32. Just haven't been able to play it, and we just haven't had a lot of time. We've been covering so many other systems and so many other games that it's just been really hard. Oh yeah, it's very expensive. If you guys don't know what the Amiga Sega CD, the Amiga 32, wow, the Amiga CD32 is a crazy expensive system. For North America, there is only one North American model that came out, and it was released in a very small number. I believe it was just kind of like the people that originally made the system just handed them out that way in some bizarre, strange way. But yeah, we have a North American model at our studio. Our studio here. But I'm going to be giving that back to Scott because that's not ours to keep. Anything new on the wireless series? Okay, so there is another wireless console. We have it. It has a different gimmick, but after the third one, we needed to take a break because that takes a lot of time to put effort and time into making more systems. There is a hint of what the next system is in the Worst Ever Console 3 episode. There's actually a hint of what it is, and it might even be somewhere too. But yeah, that there is another one. It's just to make that would take time and effort. And yeah, we're definitely going to be covering that. It's just something that we're not going to do right away. How did I meet Adam? Adam was working on a show called It's a Dog in Game. And that series is amazing. If you've never seen it, it's on the links on the YouTube channel. I actually did a voiceover or two for him in a couple of episodes. And we started to talk about stuff, and he really wanted to work on another channel, so we started working together, and yeah, it's been like that ever since. Rerez is a big team now. It's Robin, my wife, who at the time wasn't my wife when I first started Rerez, but it has evolved. It's Adam, myself, Tristan helps out a lot too. Arcada from Glass Reflection. He does a lot of stuff for the show, and other people have worked on it here and there over the years too. Alex, camera guy Alex, who had done a lot of amazing cinematography. Chris, one of his friends, also on cinematography as well. And there's also a number of other people. I wish I could remember everybody. James from Epic Game Music had helped on a lot of music and stuff. So there's just a lot of people who have worked on the show over the years. Let's see. Are you going to do the worst ever series? Oh yeah, not a bad idea. We have one. You know, it's really difficult to do a worst ever because it's in my opinion, if you're going to do one of those systems, you have to play everything that's on the system. And if I can get the entire library of a console, I'll play it, and then that's what a worst ever will be. It doesn't always have to be everything, but you know, eventually I want to cover bigger consoles that came out that, you know, big manufacturers released, like maybe one from Nintendo or Sega, because, you know, not everything those companies have released was perfect, right? There are bad systems that they've released. It's just we don't really talk about them too much. But yeah, I think eventually that might be something we do. Rams the Namecom said Shane also did a Let's Beat Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde convention video with AVGN. Yeah, that was me. The Game Chasers, Alpha Megasin, 8-Bit Eric, Spoonie, I think, was there too. James and Mike, Ryan from Cinemassacre, Justin Silverman, I think, was there, and then Bootsy, I think, as well. A lot of people there. It was a big room of just a bunch of YouTubers trying to beat that game. It was nuts. That game is so bad. Worst ever Virtual Boy. You know, I think Adam and I actually like that system, but if we were to do it, we'd find a way to make it fun, I think. You know, those episodes are for fun, unless the system really makes me upset. But at the end of a Virtual Boy episode, I would not destroy a Virtual Boy. Those things are a dying breed. Worst ever on the Atari 5200. You'd have to show off those games, right? And then that would be kind of boring. I mean, not like Atari games are bad or anything, but you know. Yes, that's Spoonie. I hung out with Spoonie a little bit at that convention. It was too many games. That's one of the conventions I love to go to every year. Unfortunately, this year I couldn't go. I don't know why, but I got to meet so many other YouTubers at at that convention. That specific convention. It's always been really fun. It's in Oaks, Pennsylvania. It's an amazing venue. Everyone's there just to play video games and talk about games. It's really, really fun. And at the end of the night, everybody just kind of hangs out like the restaurants around the area and just talks about games all night. It's really cool. Lambda Gamer asks, would you rather play Soulja Boy's consoles over Google Stadia? Hard. Okay, let's talk about the Stadia a little bit, because that's being brought up a lot. I don't hate Google. I don't hate the Stadia. I don't have anything that I feel needs to be... I don't feel they should be demonized for trying to make a system or a platform. It's just the problem is that Stadia could have been better. They could have done something that meant a lot more to people. Look, if you're watching this channel, you know that you like video games, all right? If you're watching Reres and you don't like video games, you're watching it for me, and I don't know why you'd be doing that. The video games on a platform are what matter, and Stadia could have done something so much better by giving you some kind of ownership over the games. You know what I mean? Like if Stadia was set up like Steam, where you could have a list of your games, maybe you could download them and play them, and then you could stream them, that I would have been fine with that. But I've never had a really good, consistent, stable experience with Stadia. There's always something going on. Something's always wrong with the game, or with the games on there. And I think they've tried to refine it and make it better as time has gone by. But I don't know if it's going to happen completely. I don't know if they're going to be able to really make that work the way they should make it work. So we'll see what happens. I know people want me to revisit the Stadia again, but I don't think there's time for that right now. I think they need to be given a little bit of space. The way I see it, I don't know if Stadia is going to survive. I think it actually might crash and die out. And if it does, around the time they announce it's going to be ending in a month or whatever, if they do that, that's probably when we'll go back in and do another video on it and just cover the whole thing. What we did with Google Stadia was specifically covering the launch and saying the launch was the worst thing ever. The system, the platform itself, we didn't say that was the worst ever. But if it does end in a little bit, then yeah, we will put that in there, because an online service where all of your media just disappears overnight, that's not fun. I think they're going to put a lot of time and effort into it. They bought a video game company, a development house. They're making games internally. They're trying. They really are, but it's just not working out, you know? Is the Fuse better than the Stadia? I would say yes, because the Fuse is a crazy cool system. Okay, so we're talking about the Fuse console that we showed off in the original Soulja Boy episode. In that episode, Soulja Boy was releasing a Fuse console, and everyone wanted to get their hands on that, but you couldn't. And we were super lucky. A viewer of ours who happened to live really close to us owned a Fuse. The Fuse console, you need a Chinese citizenship ID to turn on. It has to be activated in China, and then luckily the system still works in North America. That's how that console works. If Soulja Boy had his way and he sold Fuse systems, no one in North America or Europe or anyone outside of China would have been able to get that console to work. But when you do get it to work, it's amazing. It's an incredibly good console. Wonderful UI, fantastic controller. Everything about it was really neat. And the more expensive one, the console, when you put the controller on top of it, the sides of it lower down and wirelessly charge the controller. It's really neat. But you wouldn't be able to play anything on there because you couldn't get it to work here. It did have a really good version of Half-Life 2 on it that I believe was superior to the original Xbox version. So in terms of Half-Life 2 on consoles, it was really neat. But again, folks, that is a very hard system to get. If they were to ever reformat it and release it in North America, I think it would be pretty cool, but I don't know if they're ever going to do that. What do I think about the Intellivision Amico? Oh, okay. So I interviewed Tommy Tellerico on Hot Take with Adam, and we talked to him quite a bit about it. Since that interview, a lot of stuff has changed. I don't know if it's going to be a success. Tommy really believes that it's going to work out. He has been claiming up and down that they've got all these resources, all this stuff. They are trying their best to make it work, but I don't know. I don't think there's people out there that want to play those games. I think what would have been better is Intellivision becoming a production house, making all of these games and selling them for cheaper amounts on existing systems. The fact that you have to buy one of their consoles puts you up against the just so much competition. I mean, how many people here would buy a Intellivision Amico on top of buying something like I don't know, the Switch? I just don't think anyone like that really exists. I wouldn't do that, so we'll see what happens. I can't judge a system until I've actually played the thing, but I'm hoping we see something better. I heard they're making a new Earthworm Jim on it, and if they do make one, that would be really cool, but will you want to play it with that controller? You know, I like tactile buttons for my consoles. I don't like touchscreen devices, so I'm hoping that they have something a little bit more like rigid with that design, but we'll see how it goes. Katie the Weirdo asked, Rerez, have you ever accessed a debug menu in any of the consoles or games you've played? Yes, accidentally. More often than not, what you'll do is you'll be using a controller and then you'll hit like select and start at the same time, and you'll enter a debug menu. I've done it on multiple games by accident. It's just they don't know it's there, or they didn't care and didn't turn off the debug menu access when they released it. More often than not, it's just a lot of random crap that doesn't really look cool or is interesting to see. But yeah, it has happened a lot in a lot of the videos we've looked at in a lot of the games. What do I think about the series Space Quest Sierra? I like that series a lot. Space Quest E, Roger Wilco and the Time Rippers or something like that. I forget what it was. That was my first Space Quest game. Are you gonna play online games like Roblox or Minecraft anytime soon and record it? I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna play Roblox. I have played Minecraft years and years ago, but what I'm gonna be doing on the streams on Twitch is gonna be something more like we're gonna play like I will be playing modern games, because I do play modern games a lot. I'm gonna be giving away games almost every stream. I've got lots of games to give away and copies. I'll be playing exclusive games on stream sometimes that we're getting like early access to stream. And yeah, I think I'm gonna play some weird ones. Like I'm gonna play some bad games once in a while, because I know that's what people want to see when we're playing games online. Some of these systems are so bad we can't play them, but I will be playing bad games when it happens. Specifically, like I get sent games, gifted games on Steam all the time, and there's so many bad games that get sent to me. Then trying to sit there and play them and figure them out, yeah, it can be a little bit weird, but I think it'll be fun. Yoko Caprize said, "What do you think about the retro gaming community? It's active. There are more people playing old video game systems now than there were of people playing those systems when they were originally like around and brand new. I know that sounds weird, right? But more people have access to play the NES or the SNES or the Sega Genesis or any of those older systems in ways like emulation and stuff like that than they ever did before. And I know a lot of people don't tend to be okay with emulation, but I like emulation fine. Lots of companies support it. Lots of companies are emulating their old games officially, and there's loads of ways to play old games easily. For instance, the Atari VCS, that new system they're releasing, it's got a package of games on there called Atari Vault. I don't know if you want to get a VCS to play Atari Vault. Atari Vault is on Steam, and you can pick it up for, I think it's like $10, and you get access to almost every old Atari game. Their old consoles, recreations of their arcade games, and you can play those things at higher resolutions than ever before. And I know original Atari consoles probably don't need to be played at the highest resolution, but when it comes to certain ones in arcades, they look better because they're vector-based games. So yeah, I'm all for emulation and all that stuff, and I think the retro community has been growing ever since then. But I don't ever want to discount like new video game systems. I'm interested in playing the PlayStation 5, the Xbox One Series X. I'm interested in whatever Nintendo does next. Sure. What do I think about the Game Gear Mini Sega is going to release in Japan? I think they should have made it a little bit bigger and included all the games in one system. And I don't think the games that are included in the minis are as good as all of the games they've shown off, unfortunately. There was a lot more games they could have done. One of my favorite games, I did a video on it a while back called Magical Puzzle Popples. That is, in my opinion, the best Game Gear game, and it is not in any of those minis. I think that's a mistake. It really is a fantastic one. Plasma Crew asked, have you ever heard of Day of the Tentacle? Yes, it is my... If I had to pick a single point-and-click action-adventure game, that would be the one that I like the most. That is my favorite one. It is... I like all the characters. I like the writing. I like the comedy. I also like the original Maniac Mansion, but Day of the Tentacle was something I liked a lot more. For those of you that don't know, Day of the Tentacle was originally a LucasArts game that was made. It's a sequel to Maniac Mansion. For those of you that don't even know this, in Canada, Maniac Mansion, that video game, had a television series, which was not very popular, but I used to watch it. So if you're a fan of Maniac Mansion and want to see a weird television series version of it, look it up online. It does exist. Hey Rerez, have you ever played any of the mainline Shin Megami Tensei games from the Famicom to the 3DS? No. But what I did was I purchased the latest Persona 4 Golden version that got released on Steam. So I have that. If you guys want me to stream Persona on Twitch, I can do that one night, and we can see what that's like. But I know how long it takes to play a Persona game. Don't act like I don't know. I know. It's going to take like 7 years to beat it, but it'd be fun to play a little bit of it at least. Plus, everyone tells me Persona 4 Golden is the best Persona game, right? Is that right? Because everybody says that. Tabletop Mode asks if I saw the Devolver Digital stream. Yes, I did. I saw it just before I went live. I planned to go live, and I didn't even realize they were doing their thing. So I got to see it, and that was cool. I like their shows. Like I think they do the best digital direct streams there are. You still haven't seen one come out from Nintendo in a while, except for the Treehouse one that happened the other day. By the way, those are the links that are in the chat there, folks. That's to go to the Twitch channel. That there's for our Discord channel. We have an official Discord channel, and I'm on there like every day or so. And there's my Twitter account where I'm announcing new videos and stuff like that as well. Smeeties2 asked, Rerez, what are your thoughts that a lot of plug-and-play systems like the Wireless 60 can be emulated? Do you think these systems deserve the preservation in any capacity? Oh, that is a tough question. I think that those systems deserve to be saved. Their data deserves to be saved, and all that stuff should be archived. If someone can make an emulator for those consoles, fine. I don't believe that people should play those games, but to have them saved, I don't think is a bad thing. Any of the worst consoles that we've played, I think deserve to be archived in some way, right? I think there has to be some way to keep those games saved for the future so that people can play them again. Because, I mean, why not? It makes sense to me, especially the farther we go out, making sure those things stay around. Okay. Question. Yes, I have played the original Ninja Gaiden games. Adam is far better at playing Ninja Gaiden games than I am, though. I suck at them. I mean, I know how to play them. I know how to beat the levels and, you know, get through the games. I just not good at them. My patience on that just, like, way out. You want me to say it's just bad, like the way I do in the show? This isn't even the same microphone, but it's just bad. Or no, it's just bad. I think that's how I do it. Remember the Nuon, the DVD console that came out in the late 90s? Yes, we did a video on it a while ago. Yeah, so if you ever want to know what the real Atari group like eventually left to go do, that's what the Nuon was. Valentine's Eve 1996 asks, any thoughts on the Sega Astro City Mini? Yes, I'm excited for that. I'm very, very excited. There's a clicky controller on it, and that's what I want. I wanted that from the Neo Geo, and we didn't get that. I'm very excited for it. I don't know if we're going to be getting one here. I would love to see them add a lot more games, but yeah, I'm very excited for that one. Very, very excited. Well, Ulrich, I'm glad that you enjoyed staying and listening to all this fun stuff. Oh, Super Tome Brother asked, what do I think about the Tiger Electronics handhelds coming back? Hey, no, those deserve to stay in the past. I don't know why anyone would. Why would you want to play those? They're not good. They were never good. They were never fun. I think people mistake LCD games in general for being bad. That's not true. Nintendo made Game & Watch consoles and a whole bunch of fantastic systems. When Nintendo made a Tiger game-like system, they did it better. When Tiger made it, they made it bad. They were never fun. I never played any of those systems where I thought they did a good job. I thought interesting design sometimes, but I never, ever really liked playing them. I can't stress that enough. I don't think they should bring them back. I think it's a waste of plastic. They should just make a collection of them and emulate them and just like sell it on Steam if they really want to. But they can't because of all the licenses that those things were attached to have probably lapsed. So yeah, I think it's a mistake for them to do that. Any idea when the next Just Bad Games episode will come out? How regularly will they be released? It's been hard to record them lately because of the distance measures that we have to take. We have 2 episodes being edited at the exact same time right now. One is much further along than the other. I think in the next couple of days, you're probably going to be seeing that episode come out. Likely next week at the latest. Next week. Well, yeah, because this is the day it is right now. But yeah, sometime next week I think you're gonna see it. It is the newest game we've ever played on the series. It's the newest game we've played on the Re-Res channel, I think. I think it just came out like last year. It is awful. When we cover Just Bad Games episodes, what we're trying to do is we're trying to like explore the game and have as much fun as we can and make something fun for you guys to watch, right? That's the point. And one of the issues we had with some of these games is you have to play them again and again and again and again to make sure you're getting everything you can. So this time around, both of the games that we were playing, I had to beat one I had to beat twice because, and the other one we played a heck of a lot of and actually ended up catching more footage on it than we thought we ever had on there. But yeah, you will be seeing that stuff very soon. Leaf the Revenant just sent a $5 tip, and thank you, Leaf. Can't think of anything to say. Thanks for being entertaining for years, though. Oops, I thought of something. I'll look for your comments if you say something else, Leaf. Brian, no, I have not heard of Homework First for the NES. That might be a third-party game, most likely. I mean, not from Nintendo directly, but yeah. Ray asked me if I speak French. I do not, unfortunately. I enough to read what you just wrote, but that's about it. When in school, I screwed up on all my French courses. But I know enough to read certain things. That's about it. I have a new game for your series, quite possibly the worst Deadly... All right. Yeah, everyone. I think you've all seen Deadly Premonition 2 apparently doesn't run well at all on the Switch. So, in order for me to do the game justice, I need to play the first one. So I'm going to go get the first one. I'm going to play it. and then I'll get the second one and I'll play it. I think we're probably going to be covering that game. They said they're going to be releasing an update on it soon. I don't know if that's true, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to be playing that when it comes out. Or, I mean, it's already out, right? But yeah. I'm surprised that only came to the Switch. That game, Deadly Premonition, the original, was released on the 360, PC, PS3. I think that was it. Or I guess it came out on Switch as well later on. The Batman voice. Yeah, the Batman episodes are insane. I think we spent more time on the Batman Just Bad Games episodes than any other episode we've done on the series. It just took so long to play those games, especially Batman and Robin. The Batman voice, we were just messing around trying to get like these scenes that had no dialogue at all to do something. So that's why it would be like Alfred, and then we just like grumble our mouths and try and just do stuff like that. We had a lot of fun with those. Persona asked, going to be reviewing the Analog NT Mini Noir in the before the November release. No one's reached out to us for that, so as far as I know, no. What's re-res stand for? I think I said this already at the beginning, but re-res stands for respawning in a game. So if you're in a game and you die and you're waiting to get respawned, you're waiting to get re-resed. That's what it is. When you die in a game, you're getting de-resed. When you're respawning in a game, you call it re-res. Seth Vasquez said, "Hey Re-res, are you going to play Ride to Hell Retribution on Just Bad Games, or did you play it already?" I want a copy of that game on Steam, but unfortunately they stopped selling it on Steam, so I haven't been able to pick up a copy. If anybody has a code for that game, I would be happy to play it. It's been really hard to find one. There are console versions of the game, but I wanted to see what the PC version would be like, because I think very few people actually played the PC version. Yeah, well, people call me Re-res all the time. Like in real life, I'll go to a video game store and they'll just call me Re-res. They don't even know what my real name is. It happens way too much. But I mean, it's fine. I don't mind. Yes, Re-res is from Tron. That's exactly where it came from. K Barrows said, Re-res and Stop Skeletons from Fighting are the best YouTube channels. Thank you for that. And yes, I love Stop Skeletons from Fighting. Derek and his partner are fantastic at what they do. I love their show. I've actually watched episodes of theirs while filming and editing episodes of mine. Like that's like for real. That's how I do that sometimes. Okay, 2 more questions, then we'll wrap this up. And don't forget, folks, like I said, we're going to be streaming on Twitch 2 to 3 times a week. And this Monday, we're going to be playing an exclusive game. It's a game, by the way, a sequel to a game I had played on Re-res before, but we're getting early access to it, and I'm really excited about this. I'm going to link again in the chat so everyone can see that. And we also have a Discord server, like I said, back on there. Jack on a Mac asked, do you watch Scott the Woz? Yes, I do. I'm afraid that my TV is going to have a permanent blue line on the outside watching Scott's videos so much. He does fantastic videos. I actually met him at Too Many Games. Super down to earth and really, really informative. The guy knows his video games a lot. But yeah, that's like such an iconic thing when you're watching his channel, to get that like blue line around the video. Everybody knows, when you watch a Scott the Woz video, you know what you're watching. You see it right away. Look up the third-party controller, Reality Quest Power Glove controller for Nintendo 64. I actually have a Power Glove for the PlayStation that I think I'll be covering maybe at some point in the future. I hope it's a weird one. I don't think anyone's ever really seen this before. Cyrus asked, Iris? Might be Cyrus. Cyrus asked, hey, Riz, what have you thought about the Gizmondo? If I could find a Gizmondo, I would cover it easily. It's just finding it, getting the right games on it and stuff, that's hard. There's a lot of video game systems that I really want to cover, but finding them has been very difficult. Like, there's one system I want to cover. It's, I'll tell you guys about it now because I think someone actually put it up for auction, but the auction price of it is $20,000 or $30,000 or something, and so it's out of my price range. But Nintendo released a unique Nintendo DS Black model, a Nintendo DS Lite Black model with a McDonald's logo on the lid. And it was only given to Japanese McDonald's employees, and there was a game on it that taught them how to build burgers and cook French fries. That is one of the hardest systems to find. I've only seen one up for auction. That's it. They're very hard to come by. That is a real system that is unique to Japanese McDonald's. Yes. So Bridget Poor asked, do you know Connor the Waffle? Yes, I do. I've spoken with him a couple times. He covers a lot of weird consoles as well, too. Did you know Sid the Dummy got a re-release on the Nintendo Switch for some reason? Yes. Yes. It's not a re-release. It's a completely new game. It's a new Sid the Dummy game. And yes, I will be covering it eventually. I just have to kind of free up my mind because I really don't want to sit there and play that game all the way through. I will, but yeah, it's a recreation. Thanks. These are blue filter lenses, so I can look at a monitor for a really long time. My eyes don't get all tired and stuff. I don't actually need them to read, but they're nice. Common Bird Mom just sent in a tip. Thanks, Common Bird Mom. You deserve as much subs as Scott the Woz. I appreciate that. We're having a lot of fun though. I don't mind. I'm not doing YouTube or Twitch or anything for the numbers. You know, I'm just having fun making videos with my friends right now. We make enough to make things go, and that's all that really matters. Vinny asks, what is your other job that you do in bonus of being a YouTuber? I did a lot of jobs before starting YouTube, but ever since I started YouTube, I've done a couple of things throughout. I've worked on marketing teams. I've done community management for stuff, but I also worked in video game PR for a little while because I wanted to understand what it was like. I started Re-Res, and then midway through, I worked at a PR company to understand more about video game development from the behind the scenes. Because, you know, you see a lot of people talk about video game industry stuff, and, you know, they seem to know a lot what they're talking about, but I wanted to make sure that I actually understood what it was like, what it actually took to make a video game. So I worked for a little bit in that field to understand, what does a developer go through? What's it like to sell a video game? Is it true that they leak games early on purpose? And more often than not, no, it's not true. They don't leak games early on purpose. It's usually an accident, and it completely destroys a whole marketing campaign that the company has paid for and done. So there are a whole bunch of things that I learned about in the industry that I didn't know, and it kind of gave me a deeper insight and a deeper appreciation of what game developers and marketing people do to make games. Could Sega succeed if they rejoined the console market? No. No, they would not. Sega is totally out of it in terms of video game consoles. There's no way that they could come back in. They would be able to they would have to compete with such towering people. By the way, the Atari VCS, exact same problem. Atari VCS isn't competing with your PlayStation 4, your Xbox One, which, by the way, it can't compete with. It's now competing against the PlayStation 5, the Xbox One Series X, and it doesn't even compete against the Switch. I mean, the Switch is a portable system. It goes anywhere. So already it's at a loss. I mean, the Atari VCS is going to be just a cluster. I don't know what they're going to do. But if Sega were to try to do the same thing, they would be in the exact same position. I think they'd have the exact same problems. I just don't see them ever coming back with anything. Seth Vasquez asked, are you going to be doing more live streams like this? Yes, we're going to be doing more on Twitch. If everybody wants, we can do a Just Bad Games episode that, or like a Just Bad Games live episode like this, where we go through a bunch and we like comment and tell you about things you didn't know about those episodes, because there's so much stuff that gets cut out. It is a lot. Like those episodes have to be compressed down to make them a lot shorter. What if Sega came back to the consoles? They would make a PC based on one. Sega did work with a company and make a PC. They made a PC at one point. I don't know who helped make them make the system, but it actually could run Sega Genesis cartridges. So they actually did that at one point. I just don't think it was very successful. But yeah, I just don't. Sega making releasing their games on PC, totally cool. Sega making games, totally cool. Sega making hardware that exists at the same level as PlayStation and Xbox and Nintendo, I just don't think they should do that. Plus, I don't want another system. Do we need multiple systems? I don't care about the boxes. I just like the games on them. Like, I don't care about the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox One Series X or the Switch being, like, super powered. I just want a system to play games on. The games are the most important thing to me. And I have my preference over the hardware and stuff, and I like certain consoles than more, but I like the games on them more. You can make the most powerful video game console in the world, but if it doesn't have games on it to play, I'm just not going to care about it too much. Trey asks, do you like Windows 98? It's really cool. I like Windows 98. It's a fun operating system. Okay, one more question, folks, and then we'll wrap this up. I would like to continue this a bit more, by the way. There are other worst ever episodes that I'd like to cover. I stopped it at Worst Plug and Play 1, but Worst Plug and Play 2 is one of my favorite episodes we've ever done, and it's a big episode. It's about an hour long, so for me to stop and comment on it would probably take like an hour and a half or like 2 hours. But yeah, and there's also cutscenes and outtakes from that one that I can show you that didn't get placed into the final episode. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for being here. This has been a huge success. I didn't think so many people were going to show up. Again, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So I'm going to share that one more time. We're going to be streaming 2 to 3 times a week, and we're going to be doing hot takes live on there, and there's going to be a lot of games. Specifically, this Monday, we're going to be playing games, or a game that hasn't been released yet. So I'm very excited about that. And we got our Discord server there and our Twitch or our Twitter account where I'm always tweeting very stupid things. But folks, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for watching. Have yourselves a great night. And be sure to stay tuned to Re-Res. We've got a lot more Just Bad Games episodes coming out and a lot more Worst Evers. Plus a new series which will be coming out sometime in the future. It's going to be like one of the 3 series we run on Re-Res regularly. It's a bit more of a positive-like series, but anyway, folks, catch you later. Thanks for watching.